cloudy. It's the best I can get of that tonight, guys. You can see it's a D shape. Hello, guys. Welcome to another broadcast. I'm just doing this January moon phase broadcast again because I done one earlier and I made a mistake. Hello guys, how you doing? I done a hangout earlier and I made a mistake. I said that the people in the northern hemisphere never see the sun in the north or in the south, and I got mixed up between the Australians but what I meant to say was Australians never, well, the people in the northern hemisphere never see the sun in the north, and the people in Australia in the southern hemisphere never see the sun south. Their sunrise is in the west and it sets in the east, and our rise is in the east and sets in the west, because it's flipped upside down. But I was getting mixed up with my hemispheres. I was just too rushed. As you noticed, it was like 50 minutes or something. That's not like me to rush it. I just never had enough time. There's a washing machine going in the background, but I've got a wee bit more time tonight. Hope you've all had a good night. I've been listening to some stuff tonight. I listened to a bit of Beyond the Imaginary Curves hangout. Same again, not very much going in the way of evidence for them. I tried to speak in chat. They kept blocking what I was saying. They kept timing me out. There was no point. And I wasn't giving them any grief. I was just asking questions and I was getting timed out. And certain people in flat earth only accept that. They just won't accept that kind of behaviour. And it just turns into a circle jerk. People come on intimidated, so they're scared to speak up. They might have something on their mind. But the time they get the interrogation into the hangout, once they get in the hangout, it's like they get a wee bit of interrogation to begin with. And if you're in an ass sook, you get sort of accepted. Oh, you can stay. But if you say anything against the grain, you might have a little bit of a debate with them, and then it's, okay, thanks, see you later. So Dell's hangout was pretty ridiculous as usual. But anyway, I hope you're having a good weekend. I'm having a good one. The wee man's still awake. Look what he got for his Christmas. A flat bottle. Hey, look at the shape of it. It's not even perfectly spherical either. Look at that. Azimuthal. Oblate spheroid. Pretty cool though. You can use it as like a frisbee. Like throw it like a frisbee, and then when it hits the ground it turns into a ball. You can kick it around. Well, I think you can kick it or throw it. Not sure. Oh shit. But anyway, since I started doing this moon tracking, should we say, I wouldn't even say it's moon tracking. I'd say it's more moon observations. We're just looking at the moon, me, Marvin, a few other people, when they get the time. And we're comparing what we're seeing. And my experiment was to get images of the crescent moon during its phases in the northern hemisphere and in the southern hemisphere, then compare them, see if it matches a flat earth model, or see if it still matches what they're saying in mainstream science, that it matches the globe. And so far, with the evidence that we've collected so far, the moon's just flipped upside down. And like I said, until the major flat earth people start addressing the issue of the moon and what it is, because it's a 3D object in space. It's solid. We're looking at the craters. We can see the shadows in the craters. You can actually see if there's a deep crater or a shallow crater. And I'm not saying these craters were created by impact meteors, like meteors coming in for impact. These craters on the moon, they could have been created through, if you've ever cooked porridge, like a thick porridge, and you see the bubbles and they burst at the top of the surface of the porridge. The bubbles burst and it leaves a little hole. It could be like that. It could be volcanic, and it could be air escaping. Maybe when this moon was being created, maybe it was volcanic. Maybe it had heat in its core. Now it's dead. It's just a dead planet, or a failed planet. It could be like a failed planet. But the craters on the face of the moon aren't necessarily strikes from meteors. They could be created through other ways. Anyway, since me and Marvin started collecting this data, gathering observable evidence, because this is what it's all about, isn't it? Observable evidence on the moon. They all want to track the sun. They've done sun tracking twice. They've done full weekends of 24-hour hangouts of sun tracking. So this rubbish of not looking at the sky, it's just a get-out clause, guys. I don't care what you say. By saying that you can't touch it, you can't, it's not. To me, that's just an easy way out. It's a cowardly way out. It's a intellectually dishonest way out. If you ignore the rotation of the stars, if you ignore the phases of the moon and the lunar eclipse, why the lunar eclipse occurs and what's the difference between a lunar eclipse and phases of the moon. If you ignore these things and accept Rahu and these imaginary celestial objects in space with no proof at all and no observable evidence, at least the moon we can observe. I hear these flat earthers and validation boys having a hangout, and there's a lot of people I like in that hangout. I do like them, but they're still flat earthers at the end of the day, and I'm not. So we've got that big difference in opinion, and it's big in this scene. And for them not to say that the moon is not, it's intellectually dishonest, I think, and it's just an easy way out. And like I said, I like these people, but the sky is important. To know your reality, the sky is important. And it's like they say you can't touch the moon. Fair enough, I believe that. And they showed a picture apparently from Mars showing the Earth and the moon. And I'm skeptical about that image. I'm skeptical about that image as well, guys. Doesn't mean the Earth's flat. I'm skeptical about that image, but it doesn't mean the Earth's flat. Just because you see a false image, what makes it Earth flat? And just because you can't touch the moon, what makes things like Rahu, like black suns that guys like Bob from Globebusters, Eric Dubé, who's wrote books on flat Earth, Bob's practically talked books on flat Earth, made maps. They both got models, maps, stuff like that. Both push certain types of models and maps. And these guys, they believe in Rahu. So on one hand, they say, the sky's not where we live, blah, blah, blah. But without looking at the proper evidence for lunar eclipses, they'll hear Rahu and that. They'll just accept that. They'll just accept that. So you need to use the same objectivity. If you want to say to me, the moon's not important, well, you need to say that Rahu and everything else is not important either. So where does it leave you? Where does it leave you? Does it still leave you in flat Earth? If you think like that. So I think the information that me and Marvin's gathered is important. It's not just important for people who are interested, it's important for myself. I can look back on this maybe in a couple of years' time and think back, oh, remember the days. Remember the days where I was trying to do observable experiments with other people from around the world, And this is an amazing time we're living in, guys. We're living in a time where we can contact each other on Facebook, be from different part or YouTube. We can be on other sides of the world or the plane. We can contact it. We can communicate. We can send pictures daily. Within the hour, we can upload a picture of what we're seeing and share it and compare it. Imagine if everybody just got all this crap out of their minds, like the moonlight emits some kind of, it's cooler in the shade, or it makes fires die down, or it rots food, or people are too busy staring at the moonlight instead of the moon itself. And this is what I was trying to say earlier in my first hangout. I don't know if I'll be able to say it as good again, but I just thought it was good that I watched back on a Bruce Lee. Like, if anyone's watched Bruce Lee Enter the Dragon, there's a scene at the beginning where Jet Li, he's a little kid, and he asks Jet Li to kick him. Bruce Lee asks Jet Li to kick him. So Jet Li tries a kick, and Bruce Lee's like, "What's that?" He's like, "Use emotional content." Then he tries another kick. He's like, "Not anger, use emotional content." And then he starts talking about the moon. Bruce Lee. He says it's like a finger pointing all the way to the moon, and Jet Li's staring at his hand, and Bruce Lee goes, "Tsh!" And he goes, "Don't concentrate on the finger, or you miss all the heavenly glory." And it just seems to me that the flat Earth top brass are working on that, guys. They're making everybody measure the moonlight, like all this stuff with the moonlight, and not looking at the face of the moon, the actual face, the craters, the main features of the moon, and how it acts around the whole world. The fact that when I look at the moon, it acts like the sun. It rises in the east, sets in the west. I'll never see the moon north, and it's opposite for Marvin. He'll never see the moon south, and in the north, he'll see it rising in the west and setting in the east. He sees that. We compare images. His images are upside down from mine. It's like, well, we're getting somewhere now. It's starting to make sense now. It doesn't make sense in your own wee world if you're just Northern Hemisphere and you're trying to, but it starts to make sense when you can do it in real time, when you can match evidence in real time. Evidence that's not from NASA or any governments. Evidence that's not from the top brass shells in flat Earth. All these charlatans. I've already made a big list of all the charlatans. Like, you just avoid that information. You avoid the information from NASA, and you start generating your own data and start sharing it. You start making your own network of trusted people. You don't have to rely on NASA or these gurus, as they like to present themselves as some sort of flat Earth gurus. Because not only do they talk about flat Earth, they'll talk about alternative medicines like silver and drinking your piss and all these sort of things. And I think it's just gone off course. And right now, people are bitching about people. I like the drama. I started to like the drama. I got into it because I noticed the flat Earth themselves, the flat Earthers themselves weren't doing anything. And it turned into like let's go for the content of what they're speaking about. Let's talk about the piss drinking. Let's talk about this and attack it and stuff like that. And I didn't mind, but that gets old as well. And now that the flat Earthers aren't even generating anything, they're starting again. The top brass flat Earthers are just hitting the reset button. Mark Sargent's talking about clue 1. Jeranism's talking about 8 inch per square in his curvature. They've all hit the reset button. Well, I'm not going to accept that. I've been looking at this crap for too long to go back to the beginning. It's now time, guys, we start doing our own observations. And if you don't trust me and Marvin, do it yourself. That's what I'm saying, guys. This is what I'm trying to encourage. Try and get somebody, you must have somebody you know on your YouTube channel list, or somebody in these circles that lives in the south, or even on the equator, because even on the equator you can see the difference. And that's what this is all about, guys, gathering evidence, not proof, but just evidence that we could be, because if you look at the evidence, like the star rotations, the upside down moon and stuff like that, It can only be a globe. It doesn't match the flat. And I'll show you this. We can go onto what flat Earth says, and we can go into what the mainstream globe stuff says, and we'll see if it matches. And flat Earth can't make it work. They can't make it work. They just can't. Like I said, I'm into my conspiracy theories, and when I looked into flat Earth, there was something nice about it. I liked it, and it was rebellious. It's a middle finger against everything in the system, not just the education, like when it goes down to all the alternative medicines and vaccines and everything else. You're putting a middle finger up to really everything. And it's liberating. It's liberating, that feeling. It's liberating when you think that there could be something in this. There could be something in this. And even when the warning signs come up and you see things like Rahu, and you just accept it at the time because you're still on the high. You're still on the high of the flat Earth wave. But when you really get serious, guys, and you look at yourself in the mirror and you really want to be realistic with yourself, guys, you need to look at all the evidence presented. It doesn't have to be through me. It doesn't have to be through me. I'm just showing you guys a way you could start yourself as well. I'm just a guy sitting in a flat. You could do something bigger. And it doesn't have to be like the sun tracking, these 24-hour hangouts. It doesn't have to be. You just all have to be trusted, a trusted network. And you just need one person from the southern and the northern hemisphere, really. It can really just be two people to prove this. You don't need thousands of people either. You don't even need one person in each country. You just need one in the north. And I'm quite high north. I'm nearly as high as you can go. Any higher, and I'd be in the North Pole. And Marvin, he's really southern. He's Australia, Melbourne, Australia. So he's right at the southern part. Australia, Victoria, I think it is. So we're seeing total opposites. And like I said before in my earlier videos, guys, if you can't get your mind around how we're seeing things on a spherical perspective, like I said, put your arms out, circle them forward like you're doing an exercise. Circle them forward. Like I said, look to the right, you see it going anti-clockwise. Look to the left, you see it going clockwise. And then turn it like it's an axis. Then do it. Then put people on top of your fingers looking up, or looking across a horizon, looking across the way. Everything matches a ball. It doesn't match a plane. Everything we see. And like Validation Boy says, but Validation Boy is a big wrestling fan. So wrestling is almost like flat Earth. You know it's fake, but you enjoy it anyway. You know the characters in it have got a script, but you enjoy it anyway. You put a lot of emotional time into these things, and for them to. I remember even when I was a kid, and when I liked wrestling, when there was Hulk Hogan, Ultimate Warrior, Jake the Snake, when it was called the WWF, you had Undertaker, Paul Bearer, all these guys. We used to put our jumpers down in a square and do the wrestling and really hurt each other, DDTs and suplex, and when you realised it was fake, it was almost like the whole Santa thing. It's almost as bad as Santa, actually, because Santa's just like a fat guy with a white beard. So like some of these guys in the wrestling, they were like, who was it? Was it Tatanka and the Ultimate Warrior? These guys were awesome. When you heard it's all just fake, it was heartbreaking, just as much as Santa Claus was heartbreaking, or just as much as when you look at a big piece of evidence in flat Earth that goes against your dogmatic beliefs. And you just want to bury your head in the sand. And that's up to you guys. That's up to Validation Boy, Laurie, whoever it is. I've got nothing against that. That's your beliefs. And you can do that if you want. But me, I can't sleep with that. I can't sleep with, right, Rahu is what's causing the lunar eclipse. And then go into YouTube and listen to all these people talking rubbish and starting again. I can't just sit there. I need to start doing my own observations, and I need people to start chipping in with me and start doing something about this. whether the Earth's flat or globe, people need to start doing their own observations and being honest. At least if you do your own observations, make your own videos, do what I'm doing, prove why the lunar eclipse isn't the Earth's shadow. If you're a flat earther, make a video and prove why. And don't use Rahu, because Rahu is just, like I said, they don't want to look at the moon and they say the moon's fake, but they'll use things like Rahu. That's, to me, that's very dubious. Very, very dubious. Just ignore the stars in the sky. Man, it's been man's guide, calendar, timepiece for thousands of years, and we just want to ignore it. And that's why I think a lot of these top brass, they like to talk about how the lunar lunatic, and if you stare at it, people get murdered, and the moon's bad, don't stare at this, don't stand in the light too long, you might rot away, you might get old and die, the old age. It seems to me that there's nothing positive that comes out of the moon when it comes to flat earthers. It's almost like they're scared to look at the moon in case they turn into a fucking wolf or a reptile. And the top brass flat earthers only seem too happy to encourage these kind of fictitious stories of moonlight rotting fruit quicker or being cooler, and not actually addressing the face of the moon. And you want to know why the Earth's flat? Well, what if you did know the shape of the Earth? What if you did know? What if you just found out it's a globe or flat? What if you just did know? What next? What's the moon? You'd probably just move on to the moon. Even if you did know the shape of the Earth, if you did know deep inside, and you did, and there was proof for it, there was just proof, and you were happy that, right, I live on a plane or I live in a globe, you would just move on to the next thing. You go, so what's the moon then? What's the sun? What's this? What's that? You're happy just to deny these things because you've got this sophism going on, the flat earth, but it's like human nature to want to know. And for me, I'm already getting to the stage where I kind of know now. I've not got the proof, the undeniable proof, but I've got enough observational evidence that I've looked myself, I've watched solar eclipses with my own eyes, used a camera to film it. I've watched lunar eclipses with my own eyes, used a camera to film it. I've watched star trails with my own eyes. I've went through hundreds and hundreds of amateur footage on YouTube just of people doing time-lapse footage. Nothing to do with flat earth, nothing to do with NASA, globe earth, nothing, just people doing photography. I went through all these things, and to me it's all evidence for sphere. When I look at the other side, like for the stars, the explanations for why the stars are rotating, and they're saying that it's like they just make up stuff in it, and that's off your light. That side's off your light for flat earth right now. Before, I heard Chris Rock saying, and I was the same. I watched the 200 proofs for flat earth and Eric Dubay, and I was like, Jesus, man. And at least 150 of them I thought were solid. But then it whittled down to about 2. Like your own observe, everything you see is flat and the water's flat. That's kind of all it whittled down to, like 2. And then the globe, when you start, if you just ignore the NASA pictures, the photographs, all this crap, we all know this is just crap. But if you look at the other evidences out there, there is more that prove a globe. And like I said, the flat earthers, they won't say it's a solid rock or a solid object. We don't know what kind of rock it is. It could be silicon-based or something. Someone suggested it could be silicon-based, but we don't know what it is. But that's not the question. The question is, where are we? What's going on in the reality? What's that up there, and why is it doing this? What's the reason for that? It's not what is it made from? That's not the point here. We're going back down that moonlight again. It doesn't matter about what it's made from. We need to start looking at what's observable by all of us with eyes that can see. And like I said, for me already, I've just got into like, what is it? It's now the 8th of January. I've done a week looking at the moon through the phases. And to me, it's already conclusive evidence that we're spinning on something spherical. And it's hard to say that, guys. It's like I said, it's hard to say that. I'm the one getting the flack here. Recently, since I made those moon tracking videos, I've been getting flack from everyone. I've been getting blocked. I got blocked from Free Poncho Chan, it's called now. It's not Free Chan anymore, it's called Poncho Chan. But Poncho and Vince decided they'd attack me and block me. So Tim Osman shut it down. He was watching at the time. He just shut it down. So good on Tim. And I'm appreciative of that. It shows that somebody supports what I'm saying. And I feel like I'm on the right path. Because I listen to Tim and I kind of respect what Tim's going to say too. I know a lot of people take Tim the wrong way, but I'm kind of on the same level with Tim here. I think we're both kind of on the same thinking. I don't think Tim believes all these NASA photographs either, these Photoshop ones and 9/11, and there's lots of stuff that people can get along with Tim. But because he goes against the grain and goes against the potato squad and all the rest of it, he's the bad guy because he doesn't show his face either. And I've got to admit, once you show your face, you become a lot more human to the people watching you. So Poncho and Vince started attacking me. They got shut down. Ha ha ha. It was disgusting. Anyway, the stuff they were talking about was disgusting. They had this guy called Stephen rabbiting on about porcelain ammunition, and he even mentioned something to do with sex offender. It was disgusting. It needed shut down. I was glad they got shut down when it did. I think a few people on the panel were glad. Turquoise, he was like, oh, thank God. But I seen Chris Rock in Dell's chat tonight, and Chris Rock wants to talk to me and all the rest of it. But to be honest, guys, I'm at the end of the road now. I don't think there's anybody, any flat earther, that can come on this show and give me third or fourth hand information. Because that's all it is, guys, to me. If Chris Rock comes on and says, oh, you've got it wrong, Jed, the moon's this and it floats above our head and goes this way and that way, to me, that's second, third, fourth hand information. I know that now. I know that. I knew that last time. I knew all the different variables that flat earthers have tried to add, and it still doesn't make sense. I've done it all. I've done all the experiments. I've got 3D software as well I could do it on easily, but you don't even need 3D software to do it. And why even bother with all the rendering when you can do it with 2 balls to show the phases or 2 balls to show a lunar eclipse? So I've been getting a lot of attacks, and it's from flat earthers. Flat earthers should be supporting any observational experiments because they were all in for the sun worship. But when I suggest some moon observations, no. Even people that support what I say and they are even like, no. Because it's not what they want to hear. Simple. Nobody likes what they don't want to hear. And I'm sorry to be the bringer of this kind of news if you don't want to hear it. But like I said, do your own research if you don't like it yourself. You don't like the way I'm saying it even. Do your own research. I can only just point you in the right way. I can't make you drink the water. I can only point you towards it. So I was expecting to get attacked and I was expecting to get shunned by certain people, but like I said, it was expected because I understand the psychology now of the individuals within Flat Earth. They're all very different, but they all have the same sort of, they'll ignore certain things, which I won't. I'll look at the details. Certain people just brush over details, but I like to look at the finer details of things. And sometimes I think these people just don't look at them, or not willing to, or are just happy, blissfully happy that all this crap's going on. They're happy that there could be people out there trying to teach their kids, homeschool their kids that the Earth's flat. And these people that are trying to homeschool their kids that the Earth's flat don't even know themselves for a fact. And they'll get shunned from society, and it's dangerous. It's dangerous, and it could affect. This whole flat Earth thing has a big effect within people's lives. I've already heard in certain hangouts that certain people at jobs, they're getting sacked from their jobs. They're getting left by their loved ones and ignored because of flat Earth. For something they don't have solid evidence. Even if the loved one said, right, okay, you believe in flat Earth, or where's the map or the model, show me how you get around it, or whatever. There's no flat earther that can show you a model that works or a map. And the moon is part of that. The moon is part of that. It's simple. That's why the moon always gets turned into either a disk, a light, a projection now. It's a projection in a fourth dimensional realm through the ether state of magnetic torus fields. It could be that. It could be everything apart from, it could be just a fucking rock floating in space, guys. But if they admit it's a rock floating, or some kind of solid object floating, or rotating, orbiting, then they have to explain orbital mechanics. They have to explain gravity. They have to explain, and it's so easy to just sweep it under the rug. But that's the thing, guys. Sweep it under the rug all you want. It's not going to go away. You sweep that under the rug all you want. It's not going to go away. I'm going to lift that rug, pull it back out and go, what the fuck's this? This ain't clean. So like I said, guys, the top flat earth proponents will say it's a disc. Or they'll say it's a light, or a hologram, or a projection, or something that it's just in your third eye. It's projecting from your third eye through the ethereal realm. Let's float away through. Let's leave the meat sacks and float into the ethereal realm where we're free. This place is a shithole anyway. Ooh. Get a grip, guys. Get a grip. Wake up. Wake up. Look what they've done to the cigarettes in Britain. They're not allowed any designer patterns. So they're just like plain now. Which is a good idea. But it probably saves the tobacco company millions of pounds in paying for like ink and all this fancy designs, the patterns. You have to employ people to do all these things. It's probably just a money saver. It's like communism fags. Going to communist Russia, they probably had cigarettes all the same colour, brand, government. But I've been getting trolled heavy, guys. I have, and the people that you think that wouldn't support me, like guys like Tim Osman, they're the guys that are actually supporting me. They're helping me. Guys like J39, he looks like it's like a little sock. Muscle Car Rock Lover, Marvin Sands, people that they were open to the whole idea of flat Earth, but they're open to looking at other evidence as well. And that's what I'm going to show you tonight, guys. I'm going to show you more evidence tonight of imagery I took on the 5th and the 6th. Marvin took imagery on the 5th and the 6th, and we'll compare them. We took imagery in the 4th, the 3rd, and I think even the 2nd, and we compared them, and they were the same. They were the same sort of images, but flipped the other way. His was upside down. The shadows were on the opposite sides. When I looked at my picture, all I had to do to get the same view as Marvin was turn my head upside down. I tried it with a ball in my room, like Chris Rock said, oh, put a ball up. So I stuck a ball to my ceiling, my kitchen ceiling, and I put a single light source shining on it. So it had a crescent. So I stood at the part of the room where I seen the crescent. I thought, right, how do I make the same image what I'm seeing with Marvin? Well, I just walked across the room, looked back up at it, and create. And fair enough, you can. If you just walk on the opposite side, you can create the same image as you see in Australia with the same shade. But you know what the difference is, guys? The face totally changes. The face totally changes. The details, the features of the moon totally change. The shade stays the same, but the face totally changes. And that's the difference between me and Marvin. What we're seeing is practically exactly the same face, exactly the same features, but just flipped upside down. He's not seeing like round the sides or round the back or anything. We're both seeing the same face. But I'm seeing it in the south, rising from the east, setting in the west from the south. Marvin, he's seeing it to the north, rising in the west and setting in the east. Everything's just flipped upside down. And when you try and apply that to anything flat, it doesn't work because everything's upside down. With flat, even magnetic fields, guys. I've heard a lot of stuff in Flat Earth that they talk about magnetic. Even Bob likes to mention he's actually creating a map with magnetic field lines, which is probably data he's got from NASA. So he believes in magnetic fields. Well, guys, magnetic fields need two. A magnetic field's like that, guys. A magnetic field isn't just one way. It's two ways. So as the charged energy particles go into the southern magnetosphere, part of the magnetosphere, there's other ones going into the south, creating the southern lights. So you've got the southern lights and the northern lights, and they have to get in through the poles, through the magnetosphere. The magnetosphere is like a shield that protects the Earth from all this space weather that's hitting us, all these charged particles, and the infrared that would just melt us. And that's what I think about light as well. I think it was a guy called Eric Dollard. But a wacky guy. It was like one of these sort of new style Tesla sort of guys. I think he ended up on crack at some point. I think he's a strange character. But he was working on the idea that all light, you can't see light. You can't actually see light. You only see what the light reflects off. So if you go into an environment that has no particles in the air at all for light to shine off, maybe you don't see the stars. Maybe the only reason we can see the stars is that we have this atmosphere with all these particles for the light to hit, for it to hit our eye. If we go up out of the atmosphere, we've not got that between the stars and our eyeball. We've not got all this stuff for the light to hit off, because light's invisible. You only see it when it hits things. So everything you see, because we don't live in a vacuum on Earth, so everything you see is going to have light on it. It's going to reflect off it. But maybe once it gets thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner to the point where there's hardly anything for light to reflect off, you don't see like stars. But maybe towards the sun, because the sun's meant to be giving off there's maybe like a plasma, maybe a constant plasma. So maybe it isn't a complete vacuum around Earth until you get right out of it. There's maybe still stuff. So I've been getting attacked for certain flat earthers. Poncho Pete the clown. What a clown that guy is. I've been quite soft on him because I've had a wee soft spot for him, but he's went on the attack with me. And I think it's because of my moon stuff. And same with this Vincent guy. This Vincent guy, he doesn't give anything to flat Earth. And like Tim says, he just sits on his couch all day, talking Dutch half the time. He doesn't even know what he's talking about half the time. Just because he talked to some people in a hotel about flat Earth, he thinks he's some kind of flat Earth guru now, and he's got the right to run hangouts 24/7. These guys are just clowns, all of them. And Vincent, I downloaded that whole hangout, by the way, with that Stephen guy talking about all those weird things. I might just have a wee expose on that one as well. And it'll be used under fair use and critical analysis. But it's been interesting, the whole moon thing. It's really hit home for me. Instead of getting lost in the drama of flat Earth, I've been really looking at stuff and really trying to understand. Because the way I seen it was all from my perspective. Everything that I seen about my reality was my perspective. And it's hard to fit in someone else's perspective into your world, especially when it contradicts, especially when it's opposite, like Marvin. I'm showing Marvin one thing, he shows me the opposite. It's crazy. You're seeing opposite realities almost. It's like a mirror. It's like a mirror reflection of reality, but it's real. It's crazy. And trying to apply what we're seeing to any flat Earth model doesn't work. But apply what we're seeing to timeanddate.com, phases of the moon, things like that. You can check. You can everything's recorded. You can look at it. The moon's tracked all around the world every day anyway. They can predict where it's going to be in 1,000 years' time in the sky. It's so predictable. So we can't just swallow this crap from the top flat earthers, guys. We can't swallow Rahu. We can't swallow that it's a disk, because if it's a disk, guys, floating around our heads or going away, a disk, I showed in one of my videos, a disk would turn elliptical. It would only be a perfect circle, a disk, if it was right above your head. Anywhere else in that room, the circle distorts into like an egg. It just depends where you're standing. So disks are totally ruled out. Chris Rock mentioned a moon floating above, again, along the equator and all this stuff. That, to me, that's ruled out as well, because people, like we mentioned before, people in Australia never see the moon south. You never see the moon south, just like we never see it north. But in all these maps, for some reason, Australia can see the moon north and south. It doesn't work. It doesn't work, and I'll show you guys. It's simple. I'm just warming up, having a cigarette. Hope you are doing all right. Have a wee look at chat, see who's all in. Let's see. Right, who have we got? Oh, it's been quite busy. Right, we have Turquoise Dragon. We have Earth Sweetheart. We have J39. We have Richard Clark. We have Vancouver, BC. Glenn, well done, mate. We have Schlominger, Jibby Jedi, Laurie Gale, and Princess Skeptic. I think that's Glenn again, I'm not sure. I know there's a couple of doublers kicking around because of all this blocking. Earth Sweetheart, hey Laurie, Mr. B, Angel Raven BB, Rockin, D-Truth, Timaeus, Cheech is in the house, Justin Sherwood is in the house, Lee Johnson is in the house, that's a new name. And he says the lighthouse should be 700 feet below the horizon. But that's another thing, guys, lighthouses. If water was flat, why are lighthouses even built tall? Why aren't they just built like little stumps? Because they can just go right over the water. For it's why they built so high, so they can be seen. Negator is in the house. Since Camillo, Yvette is in. She's calling Clown Chan. Justin Sherwood, yeah, no one, Laurie. Muscle Car Rock Lover is here. He says, Poncho is a South Bank redneck, lives about 10 miles from me. Jesus, I'd be worried about that, mate. J39, where's Pillbox with his evidence? Pillbox must have been here earlier. Paradise found, globe problem, flat earth reaction, cellular concave earth solution. I've noticed this. There seems to be a rise in them. I think because of the doubts within flat earth. People are having serious doubts about flat earth now. And they're looking at the concave model. And do you know what? The concave model isn't perfect either. But it probably explains a lot more than the flat earth. Funnily enough. But going from one drug to another isn't the best thing, guys. It's time to cold turkey out of the flat earth sophism. Oh, Jeremy's in the house? Yeah, sorry, I'm thinking of doing a hang later. Could do it then. Need some flat earthers in there. Pete Shear. Hey, T-Man. Pete Shear, is Jed a globe earther again? When was I ever a flat earther, mate? Like I said, I sympathise with flat earth. I liked the the whole group dynamics of flat Earth interests in group of people, definitely. And the kind of group of people I like to bash ideas off. You try to get fresh, original ideas and thinking of certain people. That's why we communicate. We don't want to communicate with people that don't talk, that don't believe anything, that don't have any soul. We want to bounce ideas off of people. And I feel that YouTube within the flat Earth was a good place to bounce ideas off of. But now you feel like the ideas that are going around are third, fourth hand information that's came from the top brass. And it just gets copied and pasted. Oh, did you see Deep Inside the Rabbit Holes video? Copy, paste. Did you see Jeranism's video? Copy, paste. And if you didn't notice, guys, I was in the Jeranism chat and I was asking him, what is the moon? What is the moon, Jeranism? Capital letters, Jeranism, what is the moon? And he seen me comment and he went, oh, Jed Skeptic Media. He went, oh, typical. I'm not going to answer you or something. He just skipped. Then I got blocked. So there you go, guys. I think it's a deliberate attempt to get people not looking at the moon. Just this reaction that you see is almost an attempt to sabotage people looking at the moon. And it's pathetic. It's really pathetic. And until they can explain it until top flat earthers can explain a lunar eclipse without using Rahu, I'm sick and tired of hearing Ragu, the spaghetti monster's son. It's because you can understand the phases, and once you understand the phases, you understand the lunar eclipse. You're like, wow. And then when you ask flat earthers, they just keep sending you around in circles. And if you're an idiot, you'll accept Rahu, guys. You'll accept Rahu, or you'll accept that the moon's not real, so it disappears, like the Pac-Man model. They'll be quite happy. Flat earthers are quite happy to tell me not to look at the sky, but in the same breath, they'll tell me that the Pac-Man model, there's something in that. The sun could teleport to the other side of the plane. Guys, you just told me the sky doesn't matter, but all your proofs for flat Earth go to the sky as well. And it's not proof. It's garbage. Utter garbage. And I'm just sick and tired of it now. It's time I put my foot down. Stop pandering, because like I said, guys, I've got a lot of people I like. The most people I like in my YouTube connections are flat earthers. They're the people I like the most. And it's hard for me to say certain things. Since I've been building up friendships, some people will say they're not really friendships because YouTube, but there is a certain emotional connection there because you watch them day to day. It's like the Truman Show. You still have an emotional connection with these people. And it's hard. It's hard to go along this journey with them and see things that they don't want to see. And when you want to express what you've seen, but they don't want to hear it, it feels like that shuts you up. It's a good tactic because these top brass couldn't shut me up. None of them could shut me up with anything. And almost when I build a friendship with flat earthers, that shuts me up because I don't want to say anything to offend them. So it makes me more quiet when it comes to evidence. But I'm sick and tired of them getting fooled now. It's about time they started looking at this and getting to the same level of scrutiny. I'm not telling them to believe what I'm believing, but I want them to get to the same level of looking at information objectively the way I am as well. And not accepting bullshit like Rahu. I'll not accept the moon landings either. I'll not accept the Mars rovers either. I'm not accepting that. But I'm not accepting flat Earth when there's evidence out there showing me that we could be living on something spherical. It's just, it's not logical, guys. It's like I said, it's intellectually dishonest to go about researching that way, guys. And I find a lot of people nice in flat Earth. I'm seeing some really nice people, but I watch people as well in hangouts. And there's certain people that want to join my hangouts, but I see and hear what they're spouting in other hangouts, and it just puts me off them because I know I'm just going to hear something I've heard 100 times before. People like Turquoise Dragon, you're a nice guy, mate. You're a nice guy, and you've obviously got lots of information, but it's nothing new, mate. It's nothing new. A lot of people have come into this, like Turquoise Dragon, and I'm not sure if Flat Earth Fools is quite new to this, but there's certain people that come into this and talk to me like I'm just new into this. I've been in this shit for ages now, and I'm just, it's just time we put a lid on it, I think, and get on with our lives and worrying about what's important. Not these idiots. Right, guys, thanks for coming. There's 51 people in tonight. Glad to see you are all here. Like I said, I'm just going to be presenting the imagery that me and Marvin have collected over the past couple of days. Show how what he sees is the exact same as what Marvin sees is kind of a day ahead. Australia are like a day ahead. So when he posts a video, if he posts it a couple of hours after he sees it, it's almost me seeing the future, because that night I'm going to see his phase, but upside down. It's crazy, guys. It's crazy. But we'll have a look at his footage. We'll have a look at my footage. I was finding it really hard to get moon footage the past few days because, like I said, these persistent contrails, they've been heavy. And I think there is a connection with persistent contrails and the moon. I think just like the moon, how the moon pulls the tides, pulls water, it's got a magnetic effect, the moon. I think it does the same in our atmosphere, moisture, humidity. I think when the moon is out during the day and all the moisture is getting pulled to the northern hemisphere, mostly, I think the trails become more persistent. And depending on the heat, the moisture, even the ground temperature can depend on whether a trail persists or not. And I've seen a lot of people in Dell's chat saying, oh, we didn't see them when we were younger. We didn't see them. Well, there's a lot of things you didn't see when you were younger because you weren't looking. You weren't looking at it. Like I was saying earlier, people look at stuff, but they don't actually observe it and understand what they're observing. Just like when sometimes someone can say something to you, you can hear the words, you can hear what they're saying, you can hear it, but do you understand the whole sentence that they just said to you? Do you understand it all? And it's just like when you look at the moon, you look at it, you see it's circular, you see that there's a shadow on it, but you don't actually think about it, you don't actually observe it, you don't actually properly observe it. It's how you take the world. You don't just skim over the surface, guys. And it's the same with communication. How you articulate yourself or how you present evidence is how people take it. It's strange. It's strange how people will just brush over. They won't properly observe. They'll look at maybe one night. Oh, look at that moon, but they won't look at it for a couple of nights, or they won't try and understand and do the research of why the shadow is on this side, and in the southern hemisphere the shadow's on the other side. Why? Why not go a little deeper? They don't. They just want to skim the surface. They want to measure the moonlight. It's a joke, guys. And these top flat earther people know it, man. They know it. They know it's an Achilles heel. Why keep going towards the sun? If the sky's not important, why all this sun tracking? Why all this speculation about the sun? If the sky's not important, why not speculate about the moon? But do you know why? Because when they go into the moon, they hit a dead end. They have to use excuses like Rahu or projections or stuff like that. They can't actually say it's a solid rock in space. The top brass flat earthers, none of them say it's an actual solid 3D object in space. Because then if you can consider that there's a 3D object, spherical object floating in space, well, that means you have to consider that maybe we could be a spherical object floating in space. The moon's a lot closer. The moon's a lot closer. We can see all the details on the moon. The sun's meant to be so much further. It's so bright. The sun, it's funny, they tell you the opposite. They tell you, don't look at the moon. It does this, it does that. They'll tell you to stare at the sun. It's good for the pineal gland. It'll decalcify the pineal gland. Stare at the moon. Nah, all you get is cataracts, guys. You get cataracts staring at the sun. And it's bad. I've got a pair of welder's goggles in my drawer there. That's what I used to stare at. I've had a cataract. It wasn't through sun staring, but I've had a cataract. I know how they're caused as well. I had a traumatic cataract caused by trauma. But this is what flat earthers do. They spin it around, they invert it. It's almost like Satanism. That's what they do. They twist everything around. They make things natural, unnatural. And just like the way they won't want to look at the sky. They don't want to do it. They don't want to look at the stars. They don't want to look at the sun. They don't want to look at the moon. These things that have been carved, stories have been made through thousands of years, and these idiots don't want to look at it. They just want to brush it aside and just say the Earth's flat. That's just stupid, guys. That's just wrestling. That's just wrestling with reality. Reality isn't WWE. I'm sorry to say, guys. Chris Benoit is not going to join in and DDT the moon and it's suddenly going to disappear. This is real. And here's some real footage that I'm going to show you that I'd taken and Marvin had taken. So this is Marvin's footage at 7:50 p.m. What was the date there? Right, this is moon observation for Jed Skeptic Media, Melbourne, Australia, the 5th of January, 2017. So as you can see here, Marvin's got some nice shots of the moon. The moon is now entering the phase where it looks like a back to front D in Australia. It's like an upside down D. You can easily see the craters there. The sun isn't transparent. They'll try to say that I said that there's hundreds and thousands of miles of moisture. I didn't say that, guys. I said there was miles of moisture in front of us. Miles of moisture, like humidity. I didn't say hundreds of thousands of miles. It was just exaggeration. But I said miles because this is why we see the blue. If there wasn't miles and miles of moisture, we probably wouldn't even see that blue. But at the end of the day, it's not see-through. That's a solid object in space. So this was the 5th of January. If you go back on my videos, guys, we've been doing it every day since I think it was the 2nd, the 3rd. Right up to the 4th, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th. This is the 5th. We've got the 6th as well. I couldn't get any footage tonight because it was so cloudy. So Marvin, this is Marvin looking north. Marvin's moon rises in the west and sets in the east. This is at 10:15. This is a few hours later. Look at those images, guys. That's amazing. I'm so glad I've got somebody like Marvin with the camera he's got and the skill to keep the camera steady, because that is a skill on its own, just to keep the camera steady like that. The beautiful images. And like you can see here, guys, those craters, when you can see shadow like that, in the crater, guys, This shows you there's depth to this. You can see this shadow here is a wee bit more shallower than this one. This is a deeper crater. But like I said, guys, I'm not saying that these craters were caused by impact meteors. These craters could be caused by, like I said earlier, I used the analogy porridge. When this Earth, this could have been like a dead planet. This could have had heat in its core at some point, or heat just below the surface. It could have been bubbling like porridge, bursting, pop, pop. It could have been gas escaping that's created these big craters, these big holes. Volcanoes, it could have been stuff escaping out of it. So rather than it being an impact crater, it could be a crater caused by external forces, including volcanic. So, but you can just tell with these shadows, guys, there's no doubt this is a 3D object in space. If you want to believe Rahu and not believe this, you're just an idiot, practically. I'm sorry to say, you're just an idiot. So as we can see, guys, the sunlight, the light direction is coming from the left side, and the shade is on the right. On my footage, it's the opposite. Wow. This is what I was saying earlier, guys. I don't know what's happened to mankind. Like in the old days, it would have took years sometimes to get a message across the other side of the world, and the technology they had as well. And nowadays, we've got amazing cameras, amazing technology. We can contact each other almost instantly across the other side of the world for free, and we're still debating this kind of stuff. That just shows you how much disinfo is within the flat Earth. And like I said, they create all this disinfo to keep your mind. They want to keep your mind going in all different avenues. They don't want to have you on a one-track mindset. They don't want your mind to be on a linear idea or a concept. They don't want you staying on one thing, because when you stay on one thing and really figure it out, you could crack the whole thing. They want you to be a jack of all trades. They want you to know a tiny scrimmet about the moon, a tiny scrimmet about the sun. They want you to just skim over every little thing, make you feel like you know lots of stuff, when really you only know 1% of each subject, but you think you know everything because you've skimmed over the surface. You've watched a journalism video, you've watched a Eric Dubay video, you've watched a Mark Sargent video or something like this. And suddenly everyone thinks they're geniuses. Everyone thinks they can do a experiment in their garden, and suddenly that proves the Earth's flat. They think they're the best scientists around. But like I said, we'll go back to this. I want to thank Marvin Sands. If you want to check out some beautiful moon footage, check out Marvin Sands' channel. He posts them onto his channel. So by me doing this and not having him on live hangouts showing this, it's good for his channel because he's making content for his channel, and it's good for me because I can share it. This was the only photo I got of the 5th. And it was during the day. That was the 5th for me during the day. Marvin's a day ahead of me, so it looks different. But you can see it's at the D stage now, the moon, like we've seen earlier with Marvin's 5th. We see the craters. We see the features here. These 2 craters on the edge. If you tilt your head to the right, almost looks like 2 eye sockets and a sort of mouth screaming, oh. And if you look back at Marvin's, it's the opposite. It's upside down. So this was the 6th. I think this was about 3:30, maybe 4:45. There's still some daylight It wasn't black. But I couldn't get a good image of it. But I did later on, so don't worry, guys. This isn't the best of footage I got of the moon. But I took this footage just in case, because you can still see the phase of the moon. You can still see the light. You can still see the terminator line of the shadow of the phase. So you can see there, guys. It was really cloudy, but see how Marvin's shadow is on the right, and his light's coming from the left. My shadow's on the left, and the light's coming from the right. So it's just opposites and upside down. You can hear Geronism in the background. You probably can't hear it, guys, but Geronism was in the background when I was filming this. Geronism talking about 8-inch square curvature again on a circle. The Earth isn't a circle. God. But I managed to get a decent photograph of this moon, even though the footage isn't too great. I managed to take a couple of photographs about 9:30, 10 o'clock, as the moon was setting in the west. Really cloudy, guys. But like I said, I think these persistent contrails are connected. Well, there's a decent 40 people. So that was my photo, guys. Try to pause it. I got a better one there. So that's my moon, guys, on the 6th of January. Remember, you've got this crater here. It's like it's like a paw. Almost like looks like a dog paw. We can maybe say this is like a dog paw. You see the 3 sort of circles with the pads in the middle. And we could just say that's attached to it, but we can see that's like a dog paw. You see that feature, it's like a dog paw. Those 3 sort of craters here. You see it's like a dog paw. So this is the 6th for Marvin. Like you can see here, guys, got the 3, but it's the other way around. It's flipped upside down. Or we could even see this, and that's sort of like a love heart shape. You can see this bit here is almost like a V, like a love heart, like an upside down love heart. You can see it here. It's like a love heart that's the right way around. So all we're seeing, guys, is me and Marvin are seeing the exact same face of the moon, exactly the same, but flipped. And I tried to do the experiment with a disc, guys. I put a disc in the middle of the room. I went around it, and the disc just turned elliptical. It didn't stay in a circle. The only time it stayed in a circle was when you're directly underneath it. I tried to fix a ball as well to replicate the shade, and I had one source of light, and I replicated the shade by standing opposite the ball, but the face changed, the face of the moon. Me and Marvin are seeing exactly the same faces, but flipped upside down and inverted because the shadow's on the other side. Amazing footage Marvin got. Amazing. But like I said, guys, you can go back on my previous videos and you can look at the whole phases, the beginning, when it was just a crescent. But looking at some of those craters, guys, come on. Come on. Maybe we've not been on this moon, but we can't still wonder at the beauty of the moon. We can't just ignore it. Ignore the moon and accept Rahu. What kind of logic is that? Idiot logic. That's what I say. So I want to thank Marvin Sands for his amazing footage. Amazing. And the skill he had to keep it still. He's zooming. Brilliant. It's kind of correlating with what I've got. I'm seeing the same as Marvin Sands, but the opposite way around. I look to the south, he looks to the north. He sees it rising in the west, I see it rising in the east. He sees it setting in the east, I see it setting in the west. Everything is inversed, which makes me think we're upside down. And I'll show you against any flat earth model, and it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Right, guys, I'm back. So I had to do my part there. Marvin Sands been brilliant. He's been going out doing this for me, and I can only return the favor by doing my own research as well, my own observations, putting it together, comparing it. And if I compare my research to Marvin's and it doesn't work on a globe, believe me, guys, I'll be the first to tell you. I was saying, guys, look, Marvin's seen this, I've seen this, and it shouldn't work on a globe. This should be like this. But already what we've gathered from northern and southern hemispheres, it's matching what works on a sphere. It all works. Put what we've gathered to any flat earth model or map, it doesn't work at all. So am I just going to lie to myself and lie to you guys? It's up to yous. It's up to yous to do your own research and not research NASA, and don't research any top flat earth. Didn't research any flat earther above 1,000 subs. Actually, didn't even research flat earthers. Research the subjects that flat earth is interested in. So research star trail time lapses, and research time lapse star trails. Just research the moon phases, things that aren't anything to do with flat earth or NASA. Just research common knowledge it's known now for thousands of years, the phases of the moon and stuff like that. They could make little computers back in the day that could predict the moon's so predictable. They could make eclipse predictors. They could predict I can't remember what these little computers were called, but they were like a mechanism, like clocks. They worked like a clock, but they could predict moons, and it was a way to control the people as well, because the people were like, whoa, they didn't understand. So these big leaders could say, right, people, if you don't do this, I'll make the sun disappear from the sky. And they're looking down at their little computer going, all right, any second now. And it would black out the sun. And the general population would be like, ooh, because they don't understand. And while the top guys are sniggering, look at those peasants, they don't understand. And we're the same in flat earth right now, guys. These top people are laughing down at us because we're not inquiring into the moon. We are accepting Rahu or projections or lights or discs, anything apart from a 3D object. They won't accept it because 3D objects open so many more questions that they can't answer. So it's crazy, guys. It's crazy. I'm going to have a look at chat. I'm going to make a coffee because my mouth is getting dry. I hope you are having a good night, and I don't want to ruffle too many feathers, guys. I hope you are with me on this. Like I said, I'm not out on a mission against flat Earth. I don't want support from the globe people either. I've had globe people saying, "Well done, we should be proud of the astronauts," and I'm like, "No, we shouldn't be proud of that. What astronauts? They're actors. Well, they seem like actors to me." So I can resonate with the flat earthers with all this fake space stuff, and there is a lot of stuff that's been hidden from us. But there's so much information out there that you have to sieve through it, inform your own opinion at the end of the day, guys. Anyway, I'll have a wee look at chat. See who's all in. Right. We have Chris Truthseeker. Negator still here. Schmick, Gem Panda. Jesse James. Turquoise Dragons here. Rockin is here. D-Truth. All the decent people in the house. I wonder why I have moderators nowadays. Like I said, I was one of the first people. I said it to Laurie Gale on a hangout. I said she was because she was getting told by Conspiracy Mystic and Jay's Dreamers and all these people, we're going away, we can't chat. And I was like, so what? They can go away. That's what I said. And then Laurie Gale went, no, there's some really bad stuff going on in chat. And when I looked at chat, there was a lot of crap going on. So I did have to make a moderator, but it went against what I did believe in. So don't be surprised, people, if you're not a moderator, because I do like that format. I do like the way everyone can just speak freely. I'm all for that. But I'm sure Laurie and Delise, the only two moderators I have, they keep everything, like Laurie was saying in Validations Boy Hangout, flat Earth leaders are fools. That guy, he was arguing with Orphan Red. And he was arguing about certain issues he's got with her, and she was saying certain things about him. And Laurie Gale let it go on, and that was good. I want that to happen. I don't like the 666 when they just spam and it's just pointless and it's just 1,000 sixes and stuff like that. That's rubbish. Anyway, guys, we'll have a look at the moon phases, the timeanddate.com, see if it matches what me and Marvin are seeing. But I'm going to make a coffee, so I'll be back. I'll leave some music on. I'll be back in a minute, guys, right? Cheers. Hello, people. Hope you're having a good night in chat. That's why I don't mind taking these wee breaks, because I know everyone's happy in chat anyway. We're going to have a look at time and date, reference it with the observational images that me and Marvin have captured. We call it evidence. Hello again, guys. Hope you enjoyed your wee break, got a cup of coffee, had a wee chat, whatever it is. Bitched about Jed, called him a dick. Conspiracy mystic. I was complimenting your hangout as well, and you go around calling me a dick. Oh well, you just wait, You just look in the chat and you wait for them to trip themselves up. Anyway, guys, get back onto it. Like I said, I was just going to... So we've now come to the conclusion that what I see of the moon is the same as what Marvin sees in Australia, but upside down, and the shade is on the other side, so it's inverted. We've came to that conclusion. I've come to the conclusion it must be a solid 3D object. It's flipped upside down. It rises in the east, sets in the west. In Australia, it rises in the west, sets in the east. That's obviously why Japan, or whatever it gets called, land of the rising sun, because that's how it looks from a British perspective. What we see as a sunset looks like a sunrise over there. So we'll look at some of the dates. So what I'm seeing, and I've tried to use a disc, I've tried to use a ball to do certain experiments. It doesn't work. I've looked at flat earth models by Rob Skiba, Filthy Cash, whoever it is. They don't work. Nothing works. Nothing works on flat earth. Go to time and date. Go to a few moon phase websites, stuff like that. It all matches. It all matches a spherical earth. So we'll have a look at some stuff, guys. And I'll just explain as we go along. Right. So this is timeanddate.com, guys. So any observational evidence you collect, you can match it to this. And the moon and the sun gets tracked all day long. There's nothing to hide. People can match this up with what they see every day. This is correct. This is accurate. So anything you collect, you can match it to this. And like I was saying in the earlier one, the only thing that is a wee bit deceiving about time and date is that this little graphic that they have, they don't flip. They should flip the little craters on the front, just because maybe people get mixed up when they see that. But like you can see, this is Edinburgh, Scotland, United Kingdom. It's got the moon rise, moon set, and moon phases. Takes you through it all, the illumination, distance, the time. It's got everything here, everything, all the data to match what you're seeing. And if I never had so much cloud right now, I'd be seeing this. All I can see right now is just like a bloody white patch in the sky. But what I've collected so far, it should be in this phase, because it was in the D phase yesterday, the day before the 6th. The 6th it was in the D phase, so it's moved a couple of degrees. I think it's every 12. I think it's 12 or 13 degrees each phase. But as you see in Melbourne, this is where Marvin is. This is where he is. He's right at the bottom of Australia, right at the bottom, the southern point of Australia, and he's getting the opposite. See that? He's getting the opposite, and that correlates with what we are seeing with our own cameras, what the imagery we are taking the pictures of. You can see in my earlier videos, I got some better photographs of the moon and compared them to Marvin, and they're exactly upside down, flipped, inverted. So this is something you can't do with the sun, guys. You can't do this with the sun. You can't look at the shadow of the sun. You can't look at the sun phases. The sun just rises and sets. You've got different equinoxes, things like that, but there's more information to get from the moon. So what we're seeing on time and date matches with what we're getting in our photography. And this is a site called Moon Giant, and you can check. This tells you the whole. And I was looking at it on the first, and it was funny. I was listening to Martin, and Martin was complaining that someone has plagiarized his idea or stole his idea about Tesla and Tunguska. But at the same time, he was all over my idea of the moon. And these flat earthers have had years and years, a couple of years now, to bring this idea up. And as soon as I mention it, I either get it practically stolen off of me, or they troll me and block me. Like Jeranism blocked me from, or whoever his moderators were, blocked me from Jeranism. And Poncho Pete and Vince, with their disgusting behaviour, blocked me from that chat. So you know you're on the right path when people are blocking you, and they've not got any reason to block you. They've not got any reason to contradict your information. You're just showing them information, presenting data that you've gathered, and they've got a problem with it, and they react. It's like a knee-jerk reaction. They don't want to just admit it. So guys, what date are we on? We're on the 8th. You can go through all the phases. This is amazing, guys. You can look at the moon phases and for each day. If you could memorize each phase, you could probably know what each day in the month it was. And this is for the northern hemisphere. You press this button, it flips it for this. So you see when you go to the southern hemisphere, everything's the opposite, apart from the full moon. You can see here, guys, as well. It's another site, the phases of the moon. And this can't work on a flat Earth model. This works. Just this simple diagram here showing us a single light direction, the Earth spinning, and the moon staying with its face fixed to our planet. This is why we only see the one face, guys. And because Marvin's upside down, he sees this rising in the west and setting in the east. I see it rising in the east and setting in the west like the sun. But there's lots of websites, guys. You can go and check each phase and everything for the globe, which points at the globe model is correct. It matches. Everything works. This is another one, guys. It's just some information. That's the northern hemisphere, what you see. And in the southern hemisphere, this is what you see. You can see it's flipped the other way. The pattern there is on the pattern there. So that's what that one's wrong. I think this one's wrong with the moon phases, because they don't change the actual detail on the moon. They just stick with the shadow instead of actually changing the features. Where this is more accurate because you can see the actual features have swapped over from the north to the south. This is more accurate diagram. So it says, it just shows you here that in the northern hemisphere, the first quarter looks like a growing D, while in the southern hemisphere, it looks like a C. In the northern hemisphere, the last quarter looks like a C, while in the southern hemisphere, it looks like a D. So it's not really whether because I think that looks like a D, but the point is, it's facing the other way. It's the direction of a D or a C, because that looks like a D to me. That part, when it's that looks like a D shape, but it doesn't mean D. It means the way it's facing, the curve, where the curve is. So this is what me and Marvin are seeing. These phases. This is what I'm seeing. This is what he's seeing. Northern hemisphere, southern hemisphere. So it says in the northern hemisphere, the moon is seen in the south east, where the sun and moon rises is to the left, and west, sunset and moonset is on the right. In the northern hemisphere, the apparent movement of the sun and the moon is from left to right throughout the hours. Southern hemisphere, anti-clockwise, the moon is seen in the north, facing the moon. The east is on the right and the west on the left. The sun and the moon seem to move across the sky from right to left. So everything's sort of back to front, guys. This is why I was getting mixed up. It's sort of hard to get your head around it, how everything sort of is back to front. That's what I'm saying. When you're looking at it from a northern hemisphere perspective, it makes sense. But when you look at it from southern, and everything just seems back to front, it's easy to get mixed up with it all. But when you do actually start looking properly, it makes sense. It makes sense on the globe. And like I said, I'll never see the moon in the north, and Australia will never see the moon in the south. But when it comes to flat Earth, none of these models work. Like this model here. This is Rob Skiba's model. And I'm using this under fair use, but he's got the moon and the sun floating over. And there's certain points where like, see if you were here in Australia, guys. How can you see the sun south? It's to the north. Look, this is how they try and explain the phase. This model doesn't actually explain anything to do with lunar eclipse, because this is what blocks the sunlight. So the lunar eclipse isn't explained at all on this model. I've looked at it and it doesn't explain it, and they've got the moon all over the place. The moon is all over the place on this model. So if you're at the top, or if you're at the top of Australia here, you'd be looking south and you see the moon. You see the moon nearly right above you, south. And we already understand, guys, you never can, you only see the moon one direction. In the northern hemisphere, it's seen it in the south. In the southern hemisphere, it's seen it in the north. You can't see these things in the south when you're southern hemisphere. But if you're a tip, and this happens with a lot of these models, just nothing works on these models, nothing at all. Same again here. I don't want to actually play the video in case they try and give me a copyright strike, so I'll try and. But there's places that it doesn't work at all. Like there's a moon there below the equator. So people on the equator, this is what they're supposed to be seeing, when really this is not reality. What you'd be seeing is the Earth tilted upside down. This is where I got this idea. My friend, he was in the Emirates, which is Saudi Arabia area, and I seen a crescent sky in Scotland, and I told him about it, and he said when he was in Emirates, it looked like a bullhorn in the Emirates. So in Australia, when we see a crescent in the northern hemisphere, in Australia, it's flipped the other way. But on the equator, the the crescent is actually like a bullhorn. It curves up. It's like a U. And you never get this effect with this map. This map just doesn't work at all. This model, it doesn't even actually show you the range of daylight either to the nighttime. It'll go through all these dates, all these fancy diagrams, and it doesn't even work. It just doesn't work. This was another guy, Stinky Cash. He's got a flat Earth model. He was explaining the phases, and he was doing all right to a point, and with the phases, how he was explaining them, but it doesn't necessarily work on this map that he was trying to show, our model. And this is the only time you'll get a full moon, guys. This is the only time you'll have a full moon on Earth, is when the sun is directly opposite the moon. So this flat Earth guy, he's had 146,000 views. He's got over 8,000 subs, and he explains the phases. And everybody that's a flat earther must be like, right, okay, I can accept that. And in a way, he explained it quite well. But here comes the good part.
The sun and moon relative to each other in the sky causes the lunar phases, but this does not cause the lunar eclipse that we...
Exactly. You're right, mate. That's what causes the lunar phases, but it doesn't cause the lunar eclipse. What causes the lunar eclipse is the Earth's shadow. And there's no way any top flat earthers can explain it apart from a black celestial object. They have no proof or no evidence for nothing. Nothing at all. But people that believe the Earth's a sphere I've got explanations for it that work.
Saw last month. The sun and the moon were in the exact same positions relative to each other that they are during every single full moon. Okay? Nothing different happened last month during the lunar eclipse. The only logical explanation that I could come up with is that last month, a third celestial body came down and crossed over the North Pole.
So there we go, guys. Stinky Cash. He thought he had it all worked out with his azimuthal map, his wee clock going round it. He thought he was getting away with the whole moon phase thing. He was doing okay. And then bang, they mention this black fucking sun. And fair enough, he has this as a speculation. Relax. Can you get rid of that? Jesus. But why even speculate with such nonsense? So that was Stinky Cash. And what me and Marvin are seeing doesn't match this. What me and Marvin is seeing doesn't match Rob Skeever's stuff. So what we're seeing in reality doesn't match any of this crap. And this was another one. Same again. It was done on the Gleason's map. And it shows the moon in impossible positions that shouldn't be seen from Australia. But the flat Earth model can't explain it. You just can't explain it away. All these ads. So
this month, the 100% full moon
was a black sun, right? Okay. So the flat earthers like to use time and date as well. So if you want to use time and date, people, use it against your own observations. Like I said, people in Australia shouldn't be able to see the moon north. Sorry, they shouldn't be able to see the moon south. This is me getting mixed up again. People in southern Australia shouldn't be able to see the moon south, or even northern Australia. Actually, anyone underneath this red line, this is the equatorial line. So anybody underneath this line, all the way around to Africa, all the way, shouldn't be able to see the moon in south. I think it is. Is it south? Aye, like what I see. You shouldn't be able to see it. But there's at times where the moon does go southern to certain points here. The moon travels along here, the moon travels along here, and that shouldn't be happening. It just doesn't work, guys. It doesn't work. This was another dude. And you need to start looking at these kind of videos if you didn't want to be lying to yourself. Stars would never appear to rotate clockwise around a south celestial pole because all you'd have was north and everything else is spinning around the edges. And this is the model they use, guys. This is probably a better model than we've seen earlier. And this was another thing. We've got to remember that if Chris Rock, people like that, because I think Bob thinks it's a disc, so he kind of he uses the get out of jail card. But people like Chris Rock think the moon is a ball floating above our heads so many miles up. Well, why doesn't perspective change on it? They like to use this perspective with the sun. David Weiss had a video up showing the sun turning a tiny little ball, turning a little ball into the horizon. Why doesn't this happen with the moon? If the moon travels like this in a circular motion above our heads, why doesn't the moon turn smaller and bigger when it's the highest, when it's right in front of you? Why doesn't it shrink when it sets? Or if it's just disappearing from your perspective, why does it stay the same size? And that's another thing they can't explain. That's why they like to say ragu, spaghetti monster, or hallucinations of David Icke's reptilian farts. This is how it would look on a flat Earth. You'd see different faces, you would see different parts of the moon as well. That's another thing. That's why it doesn't work on a flat Earth model as well, because you would see different faces, different features of the moon. And me and Marvin, on opposite sides of the world, we see the same face. It's just flipped. And this, guys, this is by David Ridlin. And you can download and play the simulator here to do your own research. So, guys, if you doubt anything, you can download your own simulator of this if you want. Different sides of the moon would simultaneously viewable from different continents. And this is where what we're doing becomes important, because if you're just one person looking at this, how can you ask this guy over here or ask this guy over here what they've got? If you've got 3 years looking at the same moon at the same time, and you show pictures to each other, and you all see the same face, but this guy is not going to see the same face on this flat Earth. He's actually looking at the dark side of the moon. This person in South America, the bottom of South America, is actually looking at the dark side of the moon. This person in America has seen the face of the moon, and this person here is almost seeing the side of the moon, or almost the dark side. It's crazy. And this doesn't match what me and Marvin are seeing. So you can see here, guys, in Africa, South America, North America, it'd all be different phases. In South America, it's got it doesn't make sense. None of this matches what reality is. And this is This is the best models they've got, guys. These are the best models they can produce, and they don't work at all. So Dave Ridling's done a good job here showing what it looks like from those cameras. So the moon would never disappear on the horizon. You'd always see it. Look at that. So that, like, the moon would be changing size. Oh dear, guys, this moon thing is really, the penny's dropping with me with the moon. I don't know about you guys. Obviously, maybe certain people need more information and data. But I'm gonna do the sun observations right up to maybe the full moon to the 11th, or I might go right through the whole month just to have a look. But so far, what I've gathered, me and Marvin, we're comparing it to what works on a globe, and it matches, and we're comparing it to flat Earth, and it doesn't match. It doesn't make sense, guys. It just doesn't make sense. There's nothing in flat Earth that makes sense at all. And when you look at the spherical science, it all makes sense. You just can't deny these things. It's anyway, I'll have a wee look at chat, see how yous are all doing. Right. Laurie Gale, got more jerky soaking. Jay, lol, look at Pillbox. Gem Panda, yeah, sorry, I'm thinking of doing a hang later. Could do it then. Need some flat earthers in there. God, that was ages ago. I read that. Ages ago. Negator, you have a picture of this lighthouse, Lee Johnson. Turquoise Dragon. Hey, Tim. Laurie Gale, hi, Pete. D-Truth. On concave, the water would all be in the middle. Saw the model of the ship going downhill. Jesse James, Gem, is that your channel? Pete's, share. Hi, Laurie. Rockin'. I don't argue with cops, women, or globers. I never win. Chris Truthseeker, possibly. Chris Truthseeker, I'm pretty tired. Gem Panda on debate, flat earth, and more channel. Turquoise Dragon, hey, Chris. Okay, says Chris. Jesse James, nice one. Thanks. Lol. Ragu, lol. Pac-Man, ha 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 ha. Right. Me too, Jed. No worries. Prove away, says Laurie Gill. Schmickmev, prove it, Pete. Richard Clark, oh ouch, Glenda. Gully Squad, a warm onesie with a cup of cocoa FE. I agree, Jed. People should be able to believe what they want without being pressured into believing what others want them to, says Earth Sweetheart. Negator says, it means you are confused. What colour was it? Justin Sherwood, there are some things that make me just to... Well, the change or just... The chat just all changed there. Reptilian Overlord, Chris, what you said proves you have absolutely no idea of what you speak of. A Flatty Award, that's Tim. Flat Earth Chat with Tim Osmond, John LeBlanc, Cathexis, Carrie and friends, Jed After Party, YouTube. Cool. I'll be watching, guys. Chris Rock, when you can debunk my 35 proofs against the ball and heliocentric model, then I'll believe you. Oi, FEBC, okay. Princess Skeptic, at least it's truth. Bye. He FR, the horizon doesn't curve. Mark Harris, Jed, explain the Selenian eclipse of December 10th, 2011. This is another thing I've asked, like Bob, I've asked all the top flat earthers to explain eclipses. And I can explain eclipses. I can explain solar and lunar eclipses, but they can't explain to me how they work. To me, that's suspicious. That is very suspicious how you get hit with a question, you ask a question, and you notice this a lot with flat earthers as well. They answer questions with questions. Right. Reptilian Overlord, Jesus wept. Chris Rock, says the guy with David Icke name. J39, it's all lies, but flat earth got fuck all answers. Schmick-mick, the moon is higher than the sun. Hey Chris, solar eclipse debunks that rubbish. Princess Skeptic. True up. Chris Rocket probably moves up and down. But if it moved up and down, Chris, it would change size. If the moon moved up and down, it would change size. Glenn says, if you're not 100%, it must be shapeless. David Blackson, Texas, prove that, Jed. Ground level. Chris Rock, Jed, explain a daytime lunar eclipse. TikTok, Chris Rock, there's no such thing as a daytime lunar eclipse. And Chris Rock, if you don't understand the difference between phases and the lunar eclipse, you need to start again, mate. You need to start again, because those 35 proofs that you think you've got are probably only 4. There's no such thing as a sun being out at the same time as a lunar eclipse. The only time a lunar eclipse can work is when the sun is 180 degrees from the moon, just like a full moon. But like I said, we've got the sophism. It just haunts these people. Haunts them. The flat earth sophism. I like that, Tim. Sounds good. So like I said, I've been watching certain hangouts. Poor show by a lot of people. Flat earth is really, really going on a big down slope now. Magoom BFC, whatever his name is, this guy that moderates Dell's channel, they like to hit you with these questions. It's like, and you just use the same mentality, you should use the same psychology on them. And they go like that, well, prove to me that water sticks to the earth, a globe. Prove to me the water sticks to a globe on earth. And I'll say to them, well, prove to me it doesn't. Prove to me it doesn't. And they don't know how to answer because they're so used to using the same rhetoric. They don't even know how to answer it half the time. Dell will talk about he only wants observational evidence, but he's willing to entertain ideas like the soul, which is all subjective. The soul is a very subjective topic. So he'll shoot me down for using my observations with the moon, but I want to talk about the soul. Where's the proof for a soul? What, because this Will Smith film, 13 pounds or some crap like that. I'm sure you shit out 13 pounds of crap when you die as well, and gas escapes. Maybe that's why you're 13 pound lighter. But I'm going to continue this. I don't care who tries to block me. Jeranism can try and brush past my questions. Free Chan, Poncho Chan, whatever Chan they want to call themselves. The Clown Chan posse. The Clown Chan posse. Vince and all they people. And every person I see going on that, it's like a warm-up. If I'm going to have conversations and hangouts with people, I'm going to watch their previous stuff and see what they believe in and see what they said. And if I hear a lot of rhetoric and it's just a waste of time, I'm not going to have them on. Just like Chris Rock went on to Dell's and started, and certain people going like certain people I've heard now on hangouts I was going to have on the show, but I've heard them now and I'm just not sure. I'm not sure about them. I'm very picky about who comes on these hangouts, and I'm very picky about what hangouts I join. I've only joined 1 or 2 hangouts before because I don't trust anyone. I've noticed it through the whole of this flat earth. Anytime you start asking questions that goes against the narrative, they'll try and shut you down. And that's another clue. There's a few clues that this is a psyop. One of them is try to control the narrative. That's obvious psyop tactics. Trying to generate so much disinfo that you can't keep a linear thought, or you can't generate an original idea because they've used so many so many fucking weird ideas, and they filled your head with so much crap. You just kind of keep one track minded on one thing, like the moon. Spend a year studying the moon. After that year, you'll be an expert on the moon. But instead, flat Earth, they want you to brush over, measure a shadow of the moon, and move on. And it's pathetic. Flat Earthers think they know everything, and it's like a jack of all trades and knowing nothing about anything. Being an expert at nothing, a jack of all trades, but an expert at nothing, because they've just skimmed over each subject. And just like the psychology they use on the globers, flat earthers, because that's what flat earthers like today. And even Vancouver admitted it. He said that he'd tell people flat earth and they'd say, but this, and he'd say, but this, and they go away asking questions. And it's empowering. It gives flat earthers a sense of power because they bamboozle them. But once you get past, if you get past that, if you know the answers for their questions they ask you, then it's the reverse. You start bamboozling them. When they say the Earth's flat and you say, how's that? And they'll say, well, look at this. And instead of you being bamboozled and having to go away, you can say, but, because you've studied it all. And you can say this. And then that's when you bamboozle them. And they're like, because all their information is third, fourth hand, fifth hand. When information goes through that many people, it gets distorted, it gets changed, it gets morphed. By the time you get it, it's just a Frankenstein information, a disinfo, and you're using it to get any arguments with people. I think that's what a lot of these hangouts are about, these 24 hangouts especially. Get you on to argue a sophism. It must be entertaining for these people to hear people squabbling about stuff that it's been proven. It's been proven for thousands of years, but because of these fake photographs, everyone started looking at NASA. And I'd done the same. I looked at NASA, I was like, these are fake. Oh my God. And I thought, what are they hiding? Why are these fake? And I started looking for reasons and why. And the first one that caught my eye was the flat Earth. I was like, is this what they're hiding? And I really thought, because of these fake photographs, that they were hiding flat Earth. But then I realized that just because they're hiding photographs of Earth, it doesn't mean it's flat. It just means they can't get the altitude to get a full picture of Earth. They can only get maybe a wee fraction. Get another satellite or balloon, whatever it is they're using. I think it's high altitude balloons. Get another bit, stick it together. The bits they've missed out, fill that in with some clouds from the other picture. And this is where Math Powerland fooled everyone. Photo or painting. It was neither. It was neither. It was a composite. He wants you to walk around with lies on yourself. And I'm telling you, this is what these maps are getting made for. Antonio Subaritz trying to make a map. I heard them saying he's putting it on PDF form. I heard them saying that he got that Gaddafi hoodie made and he was thinking of doing something similar with a flat Earth map. This is money, guys. This is money. This is why they want you believing in it, because it's a big money maker, no doubt. And I don't care about views. I've had hangouts in the past, a couple of hangouts, thousands of views, deleted them for different reasons, but I deleted them. I don't care about views. Don't give a shit about views. When I first got into this, I cared about the reaction of people with my videos, but now I'm actually, once I'm in the community, I actually care about certain people's feelings as well, that I've actually incorporated people's feelings, and it's actually stagnated my own research. Like Laurie Gale, lovely woman, really, really look up to her as well. Really nice woman, really wise, and I totally, but I feel that because I've made that friendship with Laurie, that because she's always in the chat, she's one of my moderators, I feel sometimes I can't be too hard on Flat Earth. But Flat Earth's hard on me, guys. Why should I take it easy on these people when they're hard on me? And I'm pandering for other person's emotions, when really, they're false emotions. You've got emotions over a fantasy. You've got emotions. Me and Marvin, we're showing you real pictures, and we're comparing it. Well, I'm comparing it to models what should be happening, and it all seems to match a spherical Earth. We look at our data, our pictures, we look at flat models, and it doesn't match. Nothing matches on it. Nothing matches. The upside down moon on the flat Earth is the Achilles heel. And they'll try and explain it away with nonsense. Total nonsense. They'll have you measuring the moonlight. And I think they've generated like these myths about the moon to scare you away from the moon, but at the same time stare at the sun and blind yourself. Like I said, they just reverse everything, make the opposite. But that's the way the way the Earth really is. It is reversed. It is upside down. As above, so below, they keep saying. But it isn't. What people are seeing down below isn't the same as above. As above, so below. Holy shit. That's what they inject. This is a New Age thing and a Freemason thing, this as above, so below. What is it? It begins with a H. But there's a philosophy behind it. It's no hedonism. But it's this whole dualism. And you see it with the Masons. They use the black and white checks on the floors. This male, female, androgynous sort of Baphomet. It's both got the breasts and the phallus. This idea that this whole yin and yang and left brain and right brain, and I even get in my college, this left brain and right brain. I'm looking at my tutor like, are you really being serious? And this whole duality, and it's a false duality. Everything, they like to split everything. Communism, capitalism, left wing, right wing, Hibs, Hearts football team, everything's split. Black, white, everything's split. They like to split everything, and blur everything as well. They like to split it. They like to make a split, but they like to make a blur as well, so it confuses people. They don't know what side. And it's the same with heat and light. Like the way these people go on, you'd think that darkness was actually a thing, a solid thing, like darkness and light. Stuff in the darkness, and darkness is just absence of light. There is only one thing, light. And it's the same way cold and hot. You don't really get cold. It's just the absence of heat and energy. So there's not really a dualism. There is only one thing going on. But the way society is nowadays, everything's a dualism, everything, and they blur it as well. They make it everything's dual, and they mash the dualism together and say this is the way. This is a new age. This is a new way of thinking. And maybe it is, guys. What we're doing right now, maybe this is the new age. Simple as that. But it doesn't mean we have to accept these new age philosophies that are creeping into all groups and Facebook, not just Flat Earth. I even see the new age groups and fucking chemtrails groups pushing orgone pyramids and chem busting, and I done the chemtrail stuff for years, guys. I was in and out, and I came across the same sort of charlatans. I had battles with them on Facebook groups. Got blocked for a lot of Facebook groups because they were pushing the fact that we're getting poisoned and we're getting sprayed, and it's heavy metals and the Morgellons and the spider webs and the nano robots that are getting sprayed into your house and taking over your computers. And there was so much disinfo in the chemtrail movement. It generated so much different. It makes the flat Earth look like a fucking a comedy, because the chemtrail stuff is serious. They're saying they're trying to kill you, they're trying to spray you, they're trying to do this, and it's a lot of fear, it's a lot of death in chemtrails. With the flat Earth, that's what I liked about the flat Earth. It's quite a harmless sort of thing. You can do your research, but then this is what I didn't like about it. It started getting that harmful way, like drink your own piss, drink silver, drink all these Barox and these fucking soaps that they're trying to push, like bicarbonate soda. And fair enough, there might be some truth to it, but this is flat Earth, guys. Let's stick to the subject instead of talking shit all the time. I'm just sick of it, guys. I've done my fair fair amount of shit talking. I'm just sick of it. And I'm doing this right now mainly for Marvin, because he's doing the effort to take the photos, so I'm returning what I've done, made a video, it saves me editing, I can speak to whoever is here. But I'm coming to the end of this, guys. I am, because I feel like I'm trying to help some people. I didn't think I'm this saint, right? It's for myself as well. There's a selfish side to it as well. I want to know for myself as well. But it's like when you find out something really good and cool and you want to tell people about it. When the penny dropped, when I was looking at the moon, it's like, God, I need to share this with the people that follow me and care about this subject. And what I found is, when I've presented it to them, they've rejected it. Most people have rejected it, and it's a bit disheartening, to be honest with you. I didn't care about the idiots rejecting it, because I knew they would reject it anyway. We didn't live in the sky. I knew these people would reject it because they're idiots. But I thought the more open-minded, the more intellectual people, the people that could maybe go past a single thought, I thought they could like take it on board, maybe get in a good conversation. But it's been mainly rejected, and it's disheartening. That's why I'll be doing this just this month, this moon thing. It's not going any further. If you guys can't do it, and you guys are flat earthers, if you don't do this, you are just burying your head in the sand. You're denying observable evidence. Like I said, it's no proof, but it's evidence. It's evidence that points towards a spherical world, maybe oblate spherical. But where's the observable evidence that it's flat when you look up at the sky, up at the stars, up at the moon? There's nothing. There's nothing there. There's nothing there that matches what you can observe, record, compare, form hypothesis, repeat, form compare. You can do all this with the moon. You can do it. You can use a scientific method on the moon. Fair enough, it's not in a lab, but you can use your observational experiments. You don't have to touch it. You can't touch the moon. You don't have to touch the moon. You don't have to touch it. You just look at it, observe it, observe its behaviour. Just like a lion in the wild, you're not going to run up and touch the fucker. It'll rip your face off with one swipe. You stand back, you observe, go back the next day, observe the patterns, the behaviour. Then you can form a hypothesis about that lion, about what it likes, what it doesn't like, how close you can get to it before it attacks you. There is just some things in this world you can't prove outright. There's just some things in this world you just can't touch, in this reality, this universe, like the stars. If we can accept that and be humble about it, we can move forward, especially with the way we interact with each other as people, as human beings. But I'm seeing a lot of roboticness within the flat earth people. This is just a meat bag. This is just a corpse. No, it's not. It's a temple. It's a temple, and you need to look after it. You only get one, and once this is gone, that's it. People can't envisage where you go. Where do you go? It can't be just black. It can't just be black when you die. What if it is? What if it is? What if you're putting all your hopes in this imaginary ether, this realm that you fly away to because you're chosen and you're enlightened? What if there's none of that? What if you're lying on your deathbed like Crowley or Anton LaVey saying, oh my God, what have I done? That's what they guys said. This might be the only time. But like I said, I'm not going to take the chance. I'm going to believe that everything I see is real, everything I touch is real, everything that I observe is real in my reality. People can say it's a fucking hologram all they want. Mark Sargent can say it's a computer game. Bob can say it's a projection or a disc. None of them will admit it's a solid object in 3D space. Because then, when it comes to lunar eclipses, that means that Earth could be the object that's casting the shadow in 3D space. And they didn't want to address that. It's simple as that. They're cowards. Total cowards. intellectual cowards. They call me a coward because I won't go in these hangouts. I know they'll just shut me down. I know they'll just mute me. I'm too long in the tooth and watched too many hangouts to see them getting sabotaged, seeing people get ridiculed to the point where they probably won't go back on YouTube again. I bet a lot of them say that to themselves in these free chants. Get Jed on, get Jed on, get Jed on, so we can just ridicule them away for this scene. If we can't get them away with videos and stuff like that, we'll just ridicule them. And that's why I don't go on. That's what they want to do. They want to try and ridicule me. But they can't. I would have an answer, but they would just mute me. Or they would try and provoke me to the point where I would get that angry that I wouldn't know what to say. Because that's another troll tactic. Just to annoy you and make you so angry. You get that angry, you say stuff you don't mean to say. That can make you look foolish. So I'm not scared of these people. I've had people in my hangouts. I'm willing to interact with certain people. I've had Tim Osman on my hangout. A lot of people wouldn't have Tim Osman on their channel. I had him on. And Validation Boy, quite an outspoken guy. I had him on, speaking to him. Laurie, all these people I've spoken to. I don't mind speaking to people, but I'm picky. When I choose someone to speak to, they're chosen. They aren't just any, or just get on just to make my show. No, these people are picked. And I'm not saying that they should be, but me, if I'm saying come on my show, that means that's me showing a level of trust and commitment. And when I come on your show, that's me showing a level of trust to you. I'm not letting anyone come on my show, and I'm myself aren't going on any show willy-nilly. I'm a hell. Well, if I go on one of these hangouts and a couple of people I like, I'm like, oh, I might go on this hangout I like, then someone else turns up that I don't like, that I really hate, actually. I've seen that happen many times. I've seen a couple of people in hangouts. I was like, that's quite tempting. I might even go in just to speak to these guys because I like certain people, like Spectacles. I like that guy. It's funny because see when Tim Osman shuts down the hangouts, it's funny. You can actually tell who Tim likes the most in the panel. He'll start off with the people he hates first and kicks them out. So you'll see that like Poncho Pete and Vincent, they went out, and you can tell that Tim probably likes Turquoise and Spectacles. So when it came to everyone getting knocked away, you can see the last people were them. So you can kind of tell when you can see the hierarchy, like the ones he really hates, they go first. And the ones he's like, oh, I don't ever really like kick these guys, but I need to follow it through now, sort of thing. And he kicks them. There's nothing malice in those last ones he kicked, I didn't think. When Tim kicks Spectacles and Turquoise, it was just, they were just in the way. There was nothing malice there. Tim just wanted to shut Poncho Pete and that Vincent, shut them up because they were despicable, disgusting people. The things they were speaking about, they're just vile. They're vile people. It was hilarious because after Timmy shut the hangout down, Vince opened a new hangout and all he could do was bitch about me and Timmy. He was out of his tree. He was out his face. He deleted them. I got one of the hangouts, but he deleted the other one. He was out his tree. Then Pete came on. What happened? Started going crazy. And then he was putting up this picture. Poncho Pete was putting up a picture, and it had a telephone wire. It had like two telephone posts with the wire curving, and it was saying if the world was a ball, these wires would be curving up the way. And even people like Shroomy and Fanny Lancer and people that are usually on these people's sides are going, that's totally wrong, man. Can take that down. These are the kind of images that just make you look like a fool. And Poncho Pete and that start turning on your pals. They'll turn on as quick. They'll turn on a sixpence as quick on you. And this is how much these people care about you. They'll turn on you in an instant. People like Shroomy, Turk, Fanny Lance, I've seen them all just get turned on. But Poncho Chan, Clown Chan, blow up a balloon Chan, get a fucking job Chan and get off your couch Chan, idiot. Same with Vincent, just slaving crap. Vincent, what has he ever brought to any movement? What has he ever even brought to his house? Never mind a scene or a movement or what's his content? What's his videos? You know what I mean? and just on Earth. Right, I'm going to look at chat in a minute, guys. Hope you're having a good night and listening to me driveling on. But like I say, guys, the images that me and Marvin looked at, the match of spherical Earth, it's kind of, in my head, it's kind of made up now. I kind of lie to myself. I'm glad I never taught my kid the Earth was flat. I'm glad I never taught my Earth. Like, that was another thing, guys. My son was playing, no, he was watching. He's a famous YouTuber. He's called Dan DTM. He's a Minecraft guy. He's probably the most famous Minecraft YouTuber. And he was doing a video. What was it called? Riddle School. It was called Riddle School. And on the blackboard in this game, it said the Earth is flat. But the premise of the game was the teacher's an idiot. The teacher's had 2 plus 2 equals 5 on the blackboard as well. And apparently everything was back to front. And my son shouted at me, Dad. I went running through. He's like, Dad, look, flat Earth is on the blackboard. And I was like, oh my God, man. Oh my God. But luckily enough, in the video, they're saying that the teacher was an idiot and teaching the kids wrong stuff. But it's getting everywhere. That proves it's a psyop as well. Like, flat earthers are suspicious of so many people, but they'll no be like suspicious. It's like it's just flat earthers contradict themselves. They'll be suspicious about certain stuff, and they'll accept certain stuff that should be suspicious to them even more. They seem to throw away logical stuff and accept crazy stuff. I've done it. I've been guilty, but see, when I was younger as well, like maybe 4, 5, 6 years ago, I got into a lot of the whole probably Gnostic side of things, like the sacred geometry and the whole kind of. I got really into that. The spirit science. That was on YouTube. The spirit science. It was like a wee sort of guy, a wee animation, and I got really into all that stuff and the Fibonacci sequence and I still really enjoy all that stuff. The Fibonacci sequence. It's just like the easiest way for life to form. It just follows a code. It's amazing. It's amazing, but the new age got a hold of these things and distort it. Anyway, I'll have a look at the chat. It's late for me. It's 2:30 a.m. Need to get to the sack soon. We have Robert Forrest now in the house. Gullibilism. From a video game stance. YouTube is observing effie behaviour for sure, says Princess Skeptic. Cartoon Head, Button Moon. Schlonger, he is really confused. All the women love Jed. So Jed was able to detect the disinfo in geoengineering, but so what? Now it's not real and jet planes are using water engines up there. See, this is the thing. I'll get people disagreeing with me on every subject, but I've been through all this, guys. A lot of people have not heard about this chemtrail geoengineering stuff until they got into flat Earth. Like, this is old shit for me, guys. And fair enough, I can't tell you my whole experience of it. You'll have to go through it all yourself. You'll have to go through all the shit to realise at the end of it. Fucking hell, I remember Jed saying about this psyop as well. So I'm not telling you anything. You just can experience it all yourself. Because that's the best way to learn, I suppose, is experience it, learn from your mistakes. So I had to do it. Muscle car rock lover Mustangs cannot pull the skin off a rice pudding. He also says, Patty has sold every one of you mugs out. She has fucked you over for money. No job spends money like water. Wake the fuck up. Worcester Mac 3. Damn, you could charge for curses. Right, so we'll just do a wee roundup. Thanks for everybody for coming. I know you are not going to agree with everything I say, and you're probably angry at me now, but forgive me later, guys. I might have a look at Dell's video before we wrap things up, guys, and give a wee commentary over some of Dell's stupid claims. and misconceptions about the JED. Schlangenmauer says there is no water up there, so there cannot be any condensation whatsoever. So like I said, guys, what you need, the main question needs to be asked here is, what is the moon? And if you ask that question to most flat earthers, they've not really got a good answer, because they'll use their secondary information they gathered either from Eric DeBay or Bob, and they'll give you some kind of nonsense. But if we can get just past what the moon is, even if we just can all agree that the moon is an object up there, it's an object up there, at least. I'm not even going to say 3D in space. I'll leave those fancy words out for you guys. I mean, just say it's an object up there. It's not a projection. It's not a light. It's not a hologram. It's not a computer game. It's not a fourth dimensional realm. It's not the butthole of a god living on another plane. If we can just accept that it is an object up there, we can accept that the features on it are real, and we can observe them through the phases. We can observe the moon through lunar eclipse. And after you ask the top flat earthers like Bob, Jernism, whoever you want to ask, Nathan Oakley, what is the moon? Ask them, how do lunar eclipses happen? After you ask them what the moon is, ask them, how do lunar eclipses happen? And if they come out with Rahu, anything like that, or even just say that the moon's a disc and it's translucent and it dies, it's just rubbish, guys. These are the main questions people need to start asking. And if they can't get answers from the top flat earthers, they need to start doing their own observations. And if you're going to get stick for it, take the stick. I'm willing to take the stick for it. I'm willing to take. Look at my thumbs down on this video now. And I seen them earlier, and I don't care. I don't care, because I know when my son grows up and looks back on this video, if it still exists, he can turn around and go, well, at least my dad was trying to do something. He wasn't just sitting in a shed asking people to make about their claims when they don't believe in any claims or anything. I'll be proud of that inside here. I don't care about views, subs, anything like that. I'll probably lose about 10 or 20 subs after this. But I'm coming to a chapter, guys. I really am. I'm coming to a chapter. An end of a chapter, should we say? I think the moon isn't the only thing we can look at here, guys. I think even after the moon, we can have a look at the stars, even do our own photography of the stars. But I don't know if I should. I don't know even if I should waste my time with it, guys, because see, at the end of the day, this stuff that I'm doing with Marvin right now, if we see it matches a spherical Earth, well, that's it. We don't take all the information we've collected and go to the government and say, look at this, because they'll say, we know, we told you this is what happens. School told you this happens. We just look like idiots. If we done observations, took video footage, and it contradicted the globe, like, wow, this would happen on a flat Earth, because you're seeing this part of the moon, I'm seeing that part of the moon, you're seeing this shade, we're both seeing the same shade, so we must be on a plane. But this isn't happening. This isn't happening. This isn't my reality right now. And I can't just feed you bullshit, guys, when that's not the case. I'm telling you exactly what's happening. I'm just trying to be real with you. And like I said, the truth hurts. It does really hurt. It hurts people. And I didn't like doing it. Then I take pleasure in it. So enough of this disc crap. So the moon can't be a disk because it'd be elliptical all over the plane. The moon can't be just a ball floating above our heads because we'd see the dark side of the moon. We'd see different angles of the moon. Plus, we'd see the moon getting bigger and smaller as it rose and set. So it can't be like a ball just floating above our heads because we'd see all different perspectives of it, all different from all different parts of the flat Earth map. So it can't be that. It can't be a hologram. It can't be a. These are just concepts that are really going out there, but really grasping at straws by the concepts. That's why they've been really pushing them lately. So it's like you can ignore it if you want, guys. You can ignore the moon. You can ignore it if you want, but I ain't ignoring the moon. I think the moon is the key, and it must be the key because look at the way the reaction. Look at Dell. Look at the way Dell reacted. Right, guys, I'm going to go to the toilet, but do you know what? Before I go, we're going to have a look at Dell's video he done about the moon tracking. Beware the moon tracking. Ooh. I have to type him in because I'm not subscribed to him. That's the problem, guys. Because I'm not subscribed to the people I didn't really like. I have to always search them. But what I do is I watch the videos some of my subs watch, and I realise they're watching something live, and it kind of connects me. So I can still stay up to date with these people without actually being subscribed to them. Then they subscribe to these jackasses just because you want to hear the next video. You can just type their names in. Then they sub to them. Side by side spraying. You know what I mean? This is what they're trying. Like I was saying earlier, they don't want you to have a one track mind. If this guy was a decent flat earther, Dell, if this guy was a decent flat earther, he would try and support me. He would try and support me, and not with footage because we're both from Scotland. We both practically see the same moon. But he could support me by looking at the information and saying, "Do you know what? Jed's onto something here. Jed's looked at the features of the moon. They're flipped upside down. This doesn't match what the flat earthers are saying." But this guy doesn't want to. He goes on a tangent. He goes almost into like one of these. He's so serious about it. It's actually scary, guys. It's scary because if anyone from Paisley popped their head into his shed and heard him speaking the way he was speaking about the flat Earth, flat Earth, people, they'd burst out laughing. They would, in reality, they'd burst out laughing at the guy. But it's hilarious. Well, so So I'll do a bit of commentary with Dell because he's funny. He's funny, and he can't really. Dell can't really generate an original thought himself. I know Validation Boy was trying to say I'm a trend setter. I'm trying to do the newest thing in that by the flat Earth, but I don't like stagnation. Stagnation, things get stinky and smelly. You keep the stream fresh. You keep the water pumping, the air pumping, and these kind of people just stagnate stuff. They just like stagnate it. Anyway, I'll screen share. I'll be back in 5 minutes. I'm just going to do my business. I'll be back soon. Oh shit. I nearly done a Validation Boy and shared my Google window. That's the thing, Validation Boy. That's what I was trying to tell you earlier in your Hangout, that you were actually sharing your Google Hangouts window. And when you generate trolls like I do, that's one of the worst things you can actually do. And because they now see the link, they can't copy and, well, maybe they can copy and paste it, but they can just type it and get into your Hangout. So you want to share the application window when you go to screen share. Never share your whole screen. Anyway, guys, I'll be back in 5 minutes. Right, guys, I'm back. There. I forgot I'm going to do something else. Be back in 2 minutes. Righty-ho, guys. Oh, we look at the chat. Hope you're all having a good night. There's Spectacles. How you doing, man? Aye, it's been 3 hours, man. Has it been 3 hours? It was 12 o'clock. Oh, I suppose I'll be 3 hours. Be 3 hours at 3. So it's been 2 hours and 45 minutes. I'll do right, so guys, I'll just wrap it up. I've been observing the moon with another YouTuber called Marvin Sands, who lives in Melbourne, Australia. What we've realised is we see the same face of the moon, but everything is the other way around. The shades on the other side, the features of the moons are flipped upside down. The moon appears upside down. It appears to be a 3D object in space. It doesn't seem to be a disk because it doesn't go elliptical. When it moves, it sets, or when it rises, it doesn't become elliptical. If it was a disk, it would become elliptical over your head. If it was a ball over your head, you'd see the dark side of the moon. People in South America, the very bottom of South America and Australia, would see the back side of the moon on a ball floating above your head. So, and the lunar eclipses cannot be explained by any top flat earther. I even heard them saying, oh, there's been the sun out at the same time as lunar eclipse. That's utter nonsense. It's utter nonsense. If there is a video, there's probably one, and it's probably doctored some way, because that cannot happen. A lunar eclipse happens when the sun's at 180 degrees from the moon, the other side of the planet, just like a full moon. So that's nonsense. But anyway, we'll have a listen to a flat earther that doesn't believe in any model, that doesn't believe in anything unless he can touch it and measure it. So
if you actually do arrange to meet them, they usually run away, right? Or they just stop the contact. That should tell you a hell of a lot, especially when it's people who spend time trying to garner your trust and push all this stuff and then just run a mile and don't have any communication with you. So again, you know, it's just...
Now, there's a lot of reasons why I don't have communications with you. I tried to communicate, Del. I tried to even have a wee jesty, jokey, ha ha ha. It makes it less awkward when you can joke about these things as well. But no, Del wanted to be serious about it. He wanted to be prove it, prove it, prove it. If you can't see it, you can't measure it, it doesn't exist. Well, guys, there's a lot of things we can't see or measure, but they exist. It's just you have to be humble enough to admit that as a human being.
For the sensitive people out there, and to be aware and hold your cards close to your chest. These people are very, very good at trying to show you that they're nice and trustworthy and that they're one of the people.
No, we didn't try. We just do it, and it just happens. We didn't have to try to be nice. It's just natural to be nice.
One of the boys, but that's not what they're there for. So be very, very careful with that.
Be very careful if people try to be nice to you.
If somebody is interested in you and they want your trust, then you will get to know them through a period of time and it will continue. But as I say, watch for the warning signs of crazy behaviours or trying to cause trouble between, second and third parties. That's kind of erratic and irrational. It's to be looked for.
So look down at my bit of paper.
The moon, obviously.
The Achilles heel of the flat earth, obviously.
There's nonsense going on right now about the moon. And let's track the moon, okay? Now, that's very well and fine. But without the mantras, and the mantras are, I insist, it is a sphere, it is 3D, it must be, I insist, I insist, I insist, right?
Nobody said, I insist. What I'm doing is, I'm taking footage, Del, and I'm presenting it to people, and I'm saying, this is what I see. This is what I see. This is observable. I can watch each night the moon rising and setting. I can watch it going through its phases. I can watch the features on the moon become illuminated. I can look at the craters. I can see certain craters deeper than other craters. I can see that it's a real object in space, Del. Believe it or not, it's real. Whether you can touch it, whether it tells you the shape of the Earth, it's real.
Right. Before we go into that observation, we need to go into it without being on a premise or an assumption that you're basing it from, okay? And if somebody is doing that, the burden of proof lies with them. So, when you hear things like the moon is a rock, the moon is a 3D rock, okay? Where's your proof that it is made of rock? Where's your proof that it is 3D?
You can just use this. You can use this strategy with them as well. Where's your proof it's not an object, Del? Where's your observable evidence? I'm not asking for proof. I'm just asking for observable evidence. I can see craters. I can see shadows. So to me, it looks like an object up there. Where's your evidence that it's not an object?
That you have been right round it.
Nobody ever says we have been right round it. I never once claimed we had been right round the moon.
And you've studied it and you've got the proof of what it's actually made of. Okay, so they need to be asked. The burden of proof is on them.
Nobody cares about what the moon is made of, Del. Like I said, I don't care about what the moon is made of. All I care about is its behaviour in the sky and trying to match it to my reality, to where we live, which you don't want to address.
When they make these claims, shows it. The other point is you hear them saying, oh, you're looking through hundreds or thousands of miles of moisture.
I never ever said we're looking at hundreds and thousands of miles of moisture. You can go back in my video. I said miles of moisture. Miles of moisture, Del. So stop exaggerating.
Okay, so how do you take that into account? How do you know it is exactly what you say it is? Where's the data? None. The other ridiculous claim, the moon never changes size. Okay, it's just a very poor lack of research.
So you're trying to say, Del, when the moon rises in the east, it's tiny. And when it gets to the highest point in the sky, it's big. And then when it starts setting again, it starts going small. Are you trying to claim that? Is that your claim, Del? Because what I see is the moon looks the same size when it comes up, and it looks the same size when it's up in front of me at the highest point, and it looks the same size when it sets. It never changes size, Dale.
And intellectual dishonesty. The moon illusion is well known, and everybody can witness it.
The moon illusion? What's that? Is that a new film? Is that like a Dan Brown book? The moon illusion? Is that a David Icke sort of thing?
When the moon is on your horizon, it looks bigger. Okay, so it does change size. Fact of life. But again, it's intellectual.
So when the moon's on the horizon, it looks bigger. But that's no what I'm talking about. I'm talking about if you guys think it's a ball or a disc or whatever you guys think it is floating above our heads, it'll be smaller when it's furthest away and big when it's close and small again as it's going away. So you're saying it's big when it comes up, then gets smaller when it gets closer, then big again as it sets, or what? What were you trying to say here, Bill? I know that atmospherics can distort on the horizon.
Dishonesty, because these people aren't interested in honesty. They're only interested in pushing a narrative, and these mantras, and it's deliberate to try and sow discord and doubt, right? But their claims and what they're actually trying to achieve is absolutely ridiculous when you look at it. Okay, so serious anomalies with the moon illusion, other serious anomalies. You can see through the apparent shaded side when it's blue.
Prove this, Dale. And didn't show me one of your YouTube videos, because like I said earlier, we're going past all these top YouTubers and all these videos. We're going to make our own observations. When have you ever seen through the moon?
The shaded side should be black, okay? And you shouldn't be seeing anything through it. So again,
just like the sun that you had that was apparently 2 pyramids.
Again, there's other anomalies. Another anomaly, and I will set up an experiment to show that rock, right, does not reflect light to light up other areas, okay? That's just no reality. It's fucking...
I've been driving down the street on a really, in the winter in Scotland, the sun's really low, and you're not blinded by the direct sunlight. You're blinded by the glare from the road. I think it all depends, people. It depends what kind of rock Dale wants to drag out from his cave. If you drag out a piece of coal, of course it's not going to reflect that much.
Ridiculous. So again, another anomaly that you can prove over and over again that can't be the case.
You prove over and over again. God. Go through your notes, man. Come on.
I went looking for high altitude, either on a plane or whatever, or video or images in high altitude of the stars. There is none.
There is none. Did you actually think about trying to get not high altitude images of the stars, just images of the stars on the ground level? Did you ever try that? Why are you trying to look for things that are grasping at straws? Why not look at the stuff you can easily look at and find hundreds, maybe thousands of videos of star rotations? Why are you trying to look for star rotations in an aeroplane?
Right? If anybody finds any, let me see them. So these people who are saying, how can you not see Polaris from the southern hemisphere? Well, you can't even see them when you go up high, when they're meant to be right above you. So there's another anomaly there. Again, it all leads to nobody knows what the sky is. Nobody knows what the planets or the stars or the sun and the moon actually are.
No, you don't. We are building up data, observable evidence to give us an idea about what they are, Dale. You can sit in a shed in the darkness all your life if you like.
Anybody who insists and makes claims to know what they are, demand the empirical proof to show you that that's exactly what they're made of. And
you didn't need proof. If you build up enough evidence and it matches other people, You repeat it. I could do this next year. I'm sure the moon phases will do exactly the same thing. I'm sure I could repeat it for 100 years and get the same results, guys. I could take photos of the moon. Marvin could take photos of the moon. We could do this for 100 years and it would all come back the same. Maybe we can't touch the moon. Maybe we can't prove what the moon is, but we could observe it, and every bit of data that comes back with his images of the moon flipped upside down, the shade on the back, the inverted, and everything corresponding with a spherical world. It might not be proof, Dale, but it's a lot more than what you've got to prove your flat plane, whatever it is that you're talking about with two suns, diamond maps, whatever, a square Mercator map, whatever you're talking about the other night.
They are these objects that they're claiming to be, right? As far as I'm concerned, nobody knows. And also, you will never, ever get measurable proof of the earth you're standing upon by looking at the sky. Again, it's sophism.
There he goes, stealing words that me and Timmy use. Sophism. He loves it as well. He's stealing it. But fair enough, you can't get measurable curve because you can't measure the curve on the moon during a lunar eclipse. You can't measure the shadow. You can't actually go up there with a measuring device and measure it. But you can see it's a curved shadow. It's not a straight line. There is a shadow. Something's generating that shadow. A 3D object is actually blocking the sunlight and creating that shadow, Dale. Crazy, eh? Do you know what that 3D object is? Weird. It's Earth.
They're trying to play on anomalies that they can trick people into so discord and doubt into.
Anomalies. I'm taking photographs. So is Marvin. We're showing you they're the same. Can you debunk my photographs, Dale?
Right. That's it. Because it's no honesty, it's no intellectual honesty by the things I'm highlighting right now. Right? And you hear them making these claims and pushing these mantras. Then they've got their wee support groups running about them, lauding them as if they're going to achieve some great thing. You know, the moon and the stars and the sun have always been there to prove fucking nothing. Absolutely nothing. And anybody making claims to know what they are, you know, they have a serious burden of proof. Right? Now, until they can offer the proofs, the observation thing's pointless.
Well, tell us what they aren't then, Dale. You tell us what they aren't. Mr. Smarty Pants, tell us what they aren't. No, you'll just take the stand on, I didn't know. You tell me what it is, but I'll just tell you it's bullshit because no one knows.
Right? Because it's based on premises, it's based on assumptions. You know, I insist. In my deluded mind, this is what I want to be true, therefore that's what's true. That's not science, right? Somebody who's pushing religious nonsense.
He's getting wrapped up in his emotions here. He's getting very emotional.
That's what it is now. It's desperation because there's unity happening, and people are actually starting to work together to achieve things. You know, they want to throw discord and doubt into it, right? By this distraction, because that's exactly what it is, a distraction.
It's like he just explained what he's actually doing. It's a distraction. It's just a distraction. There's people coming together. There's unity. Aye, there is unity, but I didn't see it over at Dell's. I didn't. I see a lot of people over at Dell's. I see a lot of people wanting to maybe get involved, but I don't see unity. I don't see cohesion. I don't see people reverberating with each other. I see a lot of, it's just like a nut house, actually. It's like a nut house.
Now, if they are honest, they will address these anomalies, right, and have a real look at them, because they are actually happening.
Spark up another fag. I think I've aged this guy at least 10 years.
So as I say, you know, claims what the moon is, where it is, where's all the proofs of this, where's the data, where's the repeatable experiments?
That's what we've been doing every night. Been observing, repeating, matching, comparing. And I've nearly already came to a hypothesis in my mind, but I'm going to give it till the end of the month.
How can rock be reflecting light onto something else?
I've already told you about this.
Where's the repeatable experiments of that? There is none, right? So it shows you right away how ridiculous it is. But they don't bank on you understanding that they're basing it on a premise and that they're running before they can walk.
All this information Dell has is fourth hand. Every bit of information he uses is heard from some YouTube video. You can just go back and look at his content. Like even before when he's talks, sometimes he shows a video and it's practically, he just mirrors it in a Scottish accent.
But that's where people like me come in, because I can see the flaws in it. Okay? Now, it's all very well observing the moon, but do not make claims till you know exactly where it is and you know what it's made of, right?
Do not make claims. Look at this guy. How serious is it? Do not make claims about the, or what, Dale? Or what? Do not make claims, or what? Get a grip, for Christ's sake.
Right, and to know the exact shape of it, because that's ridiculous. That's a fucking lie.
Who cares if it, even if it was a lie? Who fucking cares? What are you going to do about it?
What else here?
I turn your head, just like the way I have to turn my head when I look at my pictures of the moon to make them look like Marvin's. I have to turn my head like that. Right, what? Turn your head.
Aye, the other thing I'll link into this, there's a couple of people, Phuket Word, Nick.
Oh, fuck off. Right, like I said, people like Dell just don't like it. He's not dynamic enough. He's not. He wants to sit in a wood chip shed and talk shit with his tight tin foil at and smelly John. Stale. You can almost smell the staleness in their hangouts. Almost stenches of dust. When I watch Dell's hangout, I can almost smell the dust. It's so stale. And I'm just fed up with it all, guys. I'm fed up with it. So I've been getting attacked from all angles, including Dell. I knew Dell was going to do it. It was predictable because Dell can't make a video until I make a video, so he can use whatever I've said in his dialogue. Like he uses words like sophism and group dynamics, these kind of words that I said first, and he latches onto them and he uses them all the time because he knows they're good words. And he's like that. He's like a magpie. Anyway, guys, that's about it for the night. Like I said, what I've looked at, what I've took pictures of with the moon, it matches what Marvin's getting. Marvin's getting it upside down. I've tried to do experiments with discs, with balls. I could get the shade the same on a ball on a flat plane, but you know what? The face changed, so that got ruled out. It's been some journey, guys, and I'm glad I've been here with you. But what I've realised is even good people won't listen, and maybe they can listen in the future. Maybe what I'm saying right now is just too hard for them to digest, so they can maybe come back on it when maybe they need to see a few more things to doubt it, then go back and look at what I've said. But I'm not doing it to hurt anyone's feelings, guys. It's the last thing I want to do. Anyway, I'm not even going to look at chat tonight, guys. Well, Kim, what I will before I go. Have a wee look at chat. Anyway. Cheers, Glenn, for hanging about, man. D-Truth, Earth Sweetheart, you've been great. Hello to Gail, you've been great. Cheech, you've been great. Muscle Car Rock Lover, good stuff. Holographic Enslavement is a new name. Dell's Beyond the Imaginary Shed. It's good to see everybody's cool. Right, guys. going to call it a night. Hope you take this information, do with it what you will. For me, it's a personal thing. It's a journey. I can look back on these videos. I could see when I was getting swayed one way, swayed the other way. But now, guys, it's becoming quite apparent to me that the Earth it's not flat. It's not a flat plane. No way. And if Dell or anybody else has evidence to prove otherwise, I'd like to see it. But you can't explain lunar eclipses. You can't explain the star rotations. You just can't explain sunsets, why the sun doesn't shrink or anything like that. There's so many now. It's so many that's starting to outweigh the before. Like Chris Rock was saying, he had about 150 proofs for flat Earth, and I was the same after I watched the Bayes video. God, I wanted to show people that video, but now I wouldn't show them it. Now I wouldn't show them it in fear they would debunk it themselves. Obviously, I wasn't as smart as I thought I was. You watch a few of these videos, you think you're bloody smart, but that's the way they make you feel. They make you feel smart. They give you the illusion that you're smart. They give you a wee taste of everything. Like I said, it's like you get a wee skim. You skim over everything. You think you know everything, but you're like a jack of all trades, but good at none. You can give... When you come up to that baller and you hit them with that fact and they can't answer it, you put yourself on a pedestal. But wait till the day, guys, that you hit them with that fact, they hit you with 3 back and you feel like that glober, like an idiot. You walk away with your tail between your legs, because that's what's going to happen soon, guys. Because the globers are going to be sick of getting put on the spot, no knowing their shit, and they're going to go away, research, find empirical evidence that they can show to the flat earthers, like lunar eclipses, star rotations, sunsets, all kinds of stuff. And if flat earth proponents like Bob, Bob, Eric Dubay, Jeranism, Mark Sargent, Nathan, anybody can use Rahu or holograms, they're just lying, guys. They're just lying. And just to see that they're avoiding, because there's been a big deal about the moon lately as well, with Venus being there, and there's been a lot of eyes on the sky in the news. And why have all of a sudden flat Earth turned off from it? That's a bit suspicious. I feel that there's a lot of news talking about how we can see Mars, Venus, these beautiful things in the sky, and flat Earth don't want to even look at it. The top people, they want to go back to arguing about Mark Sargent, he wants to start on clue 1 again. Journalism wants to go back to 8 inch per square mile. All this rubbish. Bob wants to make up stories about stars flying into pyramids and all crap like that. Black suns. I'm just sick of it, guys. I'm just sick of it. I'm sorry. Just sick of it. I've just come to the end. It's like... It took me a few things took me to be like this, and I've got to admit, Glenn turning on me, man, that was a poor one. That was a poor one, Glenn. That made me really analyze what the fuck, and the way people react with me, like in Laurie, because I'm pally with Laurie. That's cool. I like Laurie, but then 10 people that like Laurie don't like me and things like that, and it gets to the point where I feel like, well, if you want to piss me off, I'm not going to hold back now when it comes to stuff that you might not like. That's the truth. That I held back because I didn't want to hurt your feelings. I didn't want to hurt you. I didn't want to say these things in chat with you because I didn't want to put you on the spot and hurt your feelings. Because I've done it to loads of globers. Even I've said flat Earth stuff to globers, and they can't answer it, and they go away and they feel stupid, and it feels good. But wait till that day they come back with the answers, and you're going to look like the fools. Anyway, guys, hope you have a great weekend. Take care of yourself. And I'll see you in the next hangout. Cheers.